believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I am David Sponheim, and today is our Conspiracy Monday show. We are always doing a show. We start at 5, so we pick up the show recorded at 6, but there's so much news information that's not available in the mainstream media that we really benefit, all of us do benefit from this show. And that's why I've done the show for no personal gain for 12 years, every day, 8 hours a day. And that's why I will continue to do the show as the election unfolds. And there's no stopping this effort to build this political movement in the middle of the political spectrum. Really. Now, the division you've felt in your heart toward Republicans or toward Democrats all your life has been artificially built by the media. They try to create polar division in our society. That's why CNN is so far to the left and Fox is so far to the right. They're purposely trying to engineer this division. Now, if we erase the new ideas that Biden is pushing in the Democratic Party, like embracing jihadism or having our gun rights taken away, which seem to be big issues with the Democrats, if we instead focus on embracing our Bill of Rights, same with you Republicans, I think we can all agree to disagree and start just focusing on what really matters, because these things are under attack right now. We're being DDoSed as I speak. Thank you, Misanthropy. Is video down so I can reboot? Because I have to do this. Yeah, I need to know. It is down? Okay, we're going to reboot now. Let's try to get back into Vaughn, because they're trying to stop this message of uniting America. Now, as a former Democrat of 30 years, I was totally fed up with how leftist the Democratic Party was going. And the straw that broke the camel's back was when they told me to shut up at a Democratic club meeting. Just shut up. And I hadn't really talked that much at all. Thank you, I'm back. I realized at that point in 2007 I needed to start a new party and more toward the centrist perspective. Now, I'm a fiscal conservative, and I agree with people like Ted Cruz. I don't agree with him on social issues, though. We stand apart on certain issues, but I do agree that Ted Cruz is actually holding the line right now on the second stimulus. He's saying, let's get our country going again. Let's get the economy rolling again before we give out a second stimulus. And he's absolutely right. We never, ever should have shut down the economy. That was the biggest mistake of our president's life. He should never have done that. It was a destruction, the destroyer. It took our country into a place we've never been before. Very sad. There are people out there who are, let me pull this down, making allegations that that Trump is doing a great job. No, he's not. He actually said, I shut the greatest economy in the world down. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. He is not a person who really understands that that is the death knell of a capitalist economy. He just doesn't have the, I guess, the intellectuality to understand that that move is a killer for our economy. So Joe Biden also agrees that we needed to shut the economy down. That means that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are both in a category all their own, the stupidest men alive running for office right now. Seriously. We look at the numbers of Sweden, who didn't shut their economy down, who kept everything rolling along, and frankly, it looks pretty good. Yeah, this is the curve of the number of deaths in Sweden and how it went up and then went down. Perfect model for how we should have been. Yeah, perfect. Perfect exact model. There's no question about the benefit of Swedish model. Now, we've got a hurricane hitting the east coast of Charleston, landfall expected near Myrtle Beach. Just offhand, that's a news item. Trump is weighing in on the stimulus plan. I don't think we should fork over any money at this point until he can get the words to say, okay, let's just get back to normal now. That's all he has to say. Let's just get back to normal. Biden wouldn't say it. You notice how Biden isn't saying, let's just get back to normal. Instead, he's babbling.
I can't.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to be concerned about. The fact that both of those guys wanted to shut the economy down. Why? Why would we ever do that? And look at how freaked out the American people are right now. Freaked out. We're living in fear. All caused by this ridiculous shutdown of our economy and the fear-mongering that the Democrats are pushing. I wrote today at my Twitter about my link library, which tells you all about the coronavirus. I said, our nation is shut down over fear. And then I posted this, a link to my Flipboard, which has all kinds of links in it. Fear Train is the #1 article. So our nation is shut down over fear. Read my collection of coronavirus news and see for yourself. So I click on that. And it made a link for me. But there it is. You can actually read my coronavirus information. If you're worried about coronavirus and want to know more about it, we've got one of the most extensive libraries around. I even have a second backup library called Economic Collapse when our whole economy was shut down. We've been doing a tremendous amount to get the information out. This is a mutating virus, an RNA mutating virus. There's no such thing as an RNA vaccine that Bill Gates is creating. It'll never work. The reason is the virus is mutating in your body. It will remain in your body. Someone just said recently in one of our chat rooms, they're starting to feel symptoms again. They had it and it's coming back, bengalitis. Yeah. So you'll be fighting this disease just like you do chicken pox your whole life. Your body builds up an immunity to that, things that live in our nerves. Now we've seen Canadians are actually concerned because they're seeing caravans of people trying to get into their country right now. Americans are trying to flee the U.S. because of the bad politics that we have and the fear of the coronavirus forced vaccination program. And I can tell you, Biden and Trump will not say this. I will never force vaccinate the American people, ever. I will never force COVID test the American people, ever. So write my name in this upcoming election and tell a friend. Canada sends patrols to prevent caravans of Americans from surging across the border, literally. There are people trying to get out of our country into Canada because they think it's a safe haven for what? I don't know. Extreme liberalism? Yes, VD can be cured. They have a good selection of medications that you can take if you have syphilis or gonorrhea or chlamydia. Open your business today, full capacity. If approaches by authorities, tell them you're having a Memorial Day for Floyd. Yeah, really. If you open your business today and saying you're putting on a rally for Black Lives Matter, I'm sure your governor will say, oh, okay. Even if you aren't. It's like all these Democratic governors won't allow your businesses to operate, deny you your freedoms to have a business, which is your Fifth Amendment right, and shutting down all kinds of potential growth in their state, yet they want to have Black Lives Matter protests, terrorist organizations gather and commit riots and loot. Yes, the Mueller investigation did focus on Trump and Jared's relationship with a bank. The $285 million loan that Deutsche Bank granted Kushner's company a month after Trump became elected. And they're claiming it was aided and definitely supported by Russian oligarchs. Yes, Joe. The fact is that the Republicans didn't even want to look into this in the investigation process, and they never wanted to take on the impeachment hearing, which would have been an absolute necessity, but they chose not to. We have to blame the Republicans. We've got a problem with the person in here. Yeah, who the hell wants to flee to commie Canada? Exactly, Scissor Fight. Thank you. Woman dismembered and beheaded by the cartel. Another reason not to travel down to Mexico. You know, I'm not going to watch the woman dismembered and beheaded by the cartel. Yeah, but I will put her picture on the screen temporarily while she's being tied up before she died. Because number one, I don't want to forget about her death. And number two, we really need to know that the cartels down there are real bad news. We're not going to watch it. This is the kind of heinous stuff that we don't want to ever watch, but we have to be aware of it. Just like earlier we were talking about the trafficking of children on Epstein's Island and the torture chambers that they have built underground with a submarine base. You know, we're not going to see pictures of that either because we don't have any right now. We have artistic representations, but when something is this graphic and evil, putting on screen actually gives some level of respect. We can't allow that. So yeah, that's not going to play, but suffice to say, they're doing that a lot down there. In fact, near Juarez, Mexico, there is a cartel member that has a lion's den. And they literally feed people to the lion. They don't go out and buy meat for the lion. They feed people to the lion. Or lions. I wish I was making this up. It's true. You know, I don't think you need to be on a ventilator at all, Mike. In 90% of the cases, Mike Bloomberg, everybody. In 90% of the cases, you don't need a ventilator. The oxygenation in your lungs when you're suffering from COVID-19 is not happening. Your hemoglobin doesn't have iron in it. For some reason, the iron gets knocked out. And that's one of the reasons why I believe that EMF radiation could be doing the same effect. EMF radiation it plays with heavy metals, especially iron. So if indeed that's what's happening to people, they're losing the iron in their hemoglobin. So pushing ventilator air through may give you a temporary relief. It's not going to cure the person. That's why so many doctors were in favor of using beep, 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 censored, the drug that is currently helping people 100% of the time fighting influenza. Notice how I censor myself? I can't talk about those things on the recorded broadcast because YouTube won't allow me to talk about that particular great drug that is helping people. Over 12,000 mistakenly quarantined by phone tracking. Wow. Mistakenly quarantined by phone tracking. See what I mean? You know, and this obsession with the Democrats, they're so OCD, the whole bunch of them, they're become Antifocrats. All they care about is left-wing thinking, communist agenda, COVID tracing. They even cleared the way. Get this, the FDA banned that drug I just told you about, which I can't mention. And while they banned the drug, Donald Trump didn't fire the director of the Food and Drug Administration, which I would have done instantaneously. To this day, he hasn't done that. Thanks for being concerned about the Lions. Okay, Mike. I'm going to pass on Mike for a while. You better get your act together before you come in here. Thank you. Over 12,000 mistakenly quarantined by phone tracking, a health ministry admits. This is in Israel. Thousands of Israelis were mistakenly forced into quarantine by a contact tracing program that gives the Skin Bet security agency access to the phones of confirmed coronavirus carriers. A Knesset committee heard Tuesday. In the first week of the renewal of the Shin Bet tracing system last month, tens of thousands of people in Israel received text messages warning them that they had been in contact with a confirmed carrier of the coronavirus. Under Israeli law, those in contact with a confirmed carrier must quarantine for 2 weeks or face hefty fines or even jail time. Well, it's no lie that they say the Illuminati and the New World Order is coming out of Israel. They're trying to do it to their own people first. Look at this. Now, in no way am I against Jewish people. I actually find them very interesting and very creative. The people of Israel watch me on a nightly basis. They know that I believe that Israel is our ally. But they also know that we don't need to do the bidding of their countrymen. We don't need to do what Israel wants us to do. They know that. I'm anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic. I want everyone to know that I don't hate Jewish people. Okay? But if the tech comes from Israel and they're trying to push it on the rest of the world, that's a sure sign they're trying to push an Illuminati New World Order plan. No question about it. Okay, I've got a couple of videos that are disturbing in nature. This one, a guy isn't allowed into Walmart because of a new capacity rule. A massive fight ensues. Let's take a look. This is from Insane Canadian. Thank you.
No, no, somebody bring it
I
up.
told you, what the fuck you say you want to hit me?
Oh, no, no.
Excuse me, sir, please. No, right now. Hey, stop.
Motherfucker hit me first, right?
The cops are right there. We don't need to get locked up.
Motherfucker hit me?
No, let him go. Please, please. I need you right now. Please, calm down. Go. Oh, calm down, please. Calm down, please. No, please. No.
He not gonna let that shit go.
At all. What I just said, this shit was gonna riot. It's gonna get crazy out here. I just said it was gonna get crazy out this shit. Damn, let niggas in the store. Chaos is come this way.
And the cop right there.
Nobody's just
You know, she's been dealing with him for some time. He's got some issues. You can see that, you know, look at how big she is and how she's like pulling him around. She's done this before. Yeah. This is not the first time it's happened. Florida attacks woman praising Donald Trump. Wow, okay, I'll play that too. Yeah, that's a case of lack of guidance by our leader. If Donald Trump said that you can't force people to social distance, it's a violation of their assembly laws, that you can make recommendations to do that, but no governor is allowed to force distance people or keep a number of people in stores. Now, stores can do it, but stores have to have their own security team to do that. Stores can say you can't come in if you're not wearing a mask. But again, the store can't rely on local law enforcement to hold that up as a law, because it's not a law, it's a store's recommendation. And anyone who violates this, you're going to find this kind of security breach going on at the front door. But a good leader, if Donald Trump was a good leader, he'd tell these governors to get in line and support our rights, our constitutional rights to assemble. And you can't force people to have a no mask law. I applaud Brian Kemp, the Republican governor of Georgia, for doing that and telling the Atlanta mayor, Democrat, nah, you can't do that. You can't outlaw, make it illegal to go without a mask. We just heard testimony last night of a guy who's got severe asthma, and he's literally, his life has been turned upside down. He and his wife had to move out of their house. They both lost their jobs because he has severe asthma and he can't even be a trucker, because his truck company will not allow him to do his job without a mask on. We're literally seeing people lose their livelihood. Their whole life is upside down because they can't wear a mask. Masks deprive your body of oxygen. It's a fact. 2% at least. And that means 2% brain damage when your body goes without oxygen. OSHA requirements, occupational safety requirements require you to have no less than 19.5% oxygen when you breathe. Yet none of these masks are able to deliver that. They're all 17.5. They've been tested by numerous people. The Democrats are saying, oh no, but look at our blood oxygenation level. And then they show pictures of guys that are hooked up to blood oxygenation levels with a mask on. See, we're at almost 99%. You definitely see lowering in the blood oxygenation level too. No doubt about it, but they're trying to cover that up. And the Democrats want to forget the fact that they're imposing some unnecessary draconian law that has to be forcing us to wear masks, which never ever prevents a virus. Putting a mask on to prevent a virus is like putting up a chain link fence to prevent mosquitoes from coming into your house. It's just not going to work. Let's look at this Florida woman, or a Florida attacking a woman praising Donald Trump. You know, I didn't really start looking at you Trump supporters as fiercely fighting for a Bill of Rights until I would say maybe the second year of Donald Trump. But now I know that you people are the ones expecting Donald Trump to never force vaccinate you. Yet he won't say that. You people are the ones that are expecting him to stand up for your Second Amendment when he's already outlawed bump stock, which is ridiculous, and talked about red flag laws. You people who stand for your Second Amendment right need to know that I stand fully in favor of you. I originally wanted some sort of a verification plan as a former Democrat, but I will not impose that at all. These things are sacrosanct. We cannot get rid of them. They're so important to our country's future, I can't tell you. And the New World Order is trying to destroy these things. They're attacking these things through the Democrats and through the Republicans' mindset. We have to think about bigger problems now.
Call Donald Trump. He's going to come get me out of prison. Do not call Donald Trump right now. I'm a white supremacist. The Aryan nation will rule the world. People covered in tattoos are going to be my closest relatives, I promise you. Children.
Wow. It's weird. It won't play.
I don't give a fuck. Call Donald Trump, please. Come on, son. Hold on. You know Donald Trump. You don't know Donald Trump. I'm not going to do it. I will butt fuck this bitch on the table right now. Please, somebody call Donald Trump. I'm not playing this game anymore, you fucking pussy bitch. don't you pass it on.
Don't choke him. Don't choke him. Don't choke him.
I'm the biggest thing in the world. My brother sucks my dick, I swear to God.
You know, I'm not sure exactly how this was resolved, but Seconal would have helped. A little shot of Seconal would have gotten him under control. He's going to jail, yeah. And he was attacked for not only being a Trump supporter, but also claiming he was a white supremacist and then slapping that woman. He was put into full Nelson to control him, yeah. Thanks for sharing. And now one more. The guy isn't allowed into Walmart. Oh, we already got that one. Okay. I thought there was a second one. That was a double. Who the hell wants to live in liberal California? Okay, this story. WTF, flight from Amsterdam to Ibiza goes insane when 2 passengers refuse to wear a mask, get beaten and knelt on. You see, no government official, not Donald Trump, nobody has said that your rights to not wear a mask need to be upheld, especially if you have a disability. It's just a fact. But nobody's getting that information, so some people think they're going to take the law into their own hands because they're getting no leadership whatsoever from the president.
As soon as possible, and please stay seated as much as possible when you're here on the aircraft. The police is forward and check. Stop! I'll remove my feet! As soon as possible, and please stay seated as much as possible when you're here on the aircraft. The police is forward and check. Stop! I'll remove my feet! Stop! You promise to stop?
You promise you. Hij was zeggen. Wij doen mooi. Je zet me aan de schutting. Je zet me aan de schutting.
Well, I'm glad everybody's having a fun time. I think it's great to be able to socialize like that, up close and personal. And this is one way to, get that feel-good feeling of being close to people by getting into a wrestling match on the floor of your airplane. Who doesn't want that? CNN's April Ryan cannot wait to see armed forces pull Trump out of the White House. You see what I mean about these Democrats? They like violence. They seem to be endorsing the Black Lives Matter protest rallies, which it's terrorist activities, what's going on. Beating up white people. Democrats are okay with that. Even Joe Biden openly endorsing jihadists and Muslims. It's amazing how the Democrats are pushing so far to the left that it's not even funny. So I welcome anybody who wants to leave the Democratic Party and come on into America's third party. We're here every night, dedicated to forming a political union of the left and the right. Now, it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of bad anger brewing under the cover of uniting. We need Larry Sinclair like later in the show, maybe. I mean, is this something you enjoy talking about while I'm trying to make a very important point? You want to bring up some gay man that had sex with Barack Obama in a limousine in Gurnee, Illinois? That's important to you? Really? But uniting the country seems to be the way out of this problem, and it's not a no-brainer to know that if these two parties are never going to get along, what good is it to have Biden as our president if he can't get any traction in the Senate? Because the Senate will be run by the Republicans. They'll win enough votes to keep the Senate. Now they're talking about trying to win the House because it's so unruly out there. The Democrats are losing ground in cities where people should have law and order, and they're not getting that. Minneapolis doesn't even have a police force right now, and the police are actually the mayor's actually telling people that accept the fact that you're going to be robbed, give them everything you have. There's nobody there to protect women who could be raped in Minneapolis. This is crazy. I would have brought the National Guard in and had them camp out there these past months. Trump hasn't done anything. So Trump isn't the answer either. But constantly dividing the country on issues like Second Amendment, First Amendment issues like the Democrats do, that's a huge mistake. We're actually, anytime the Democrats go after our First Amendment with hate speech laws, they're gonna cause nothing but problems. Every time the Democrats go after your right to bear arms, they're going to cause nothing but problems. Every time the Republicans and Democrats are unfocused about our right to privacy and our need to not be COVID tested or vaccinated, they're going to lose votes every single time they ignore that. So this party is united to protect our bodies, our freedoms. We're here to protect our ultimate America that we believe should exist. When the New World Order is trying to break down our country, they're trying to destroy our nation. They're trying to dissolve our boundaries. You know that the idea for a border wall was my idea, the 1,000-mile fence. I actually measured the number of miles needed to cover the fence. Trump used it as though some cheap ad campaign for his election. So here we have an endless need for protection at the southern border and still no border wall. After 3.5 years of hemming and hawing, Trump passed up $24 billion that Pelosi was going to give him. He refused to discuss DACA. And even the courts have overturned all that. And he still fights it because it's a point of pride for him. But the reality is all he had to do was cave in a little bit on DACA and he could have built that fence by now. But he didn't do it. So I've got the fence down to $1 billion because our country will be practically broke by the time Pelosi and Trump waste money that we don't have right now, giving it to their crony friends. Yeah. So, and by the way, this will be a nice place for people to actually live while they wait for asylum in the U.S. We'll have bunk beds in some of these. None of these will have closed doors. They'll all be open. There'll be no closed doors. Every single container will have an open door guaranteed. So there's no chance anyone could be locked inside. Well, the mystery person would be anybody who wants to jump on board. I reached out to Justin Amash today. I actually was tweeting, and I was telling people this in the pre-show. I was tweeting aggressively, and not really, maybe 10 tweets today. And I was told that I'd exceeded my limit when I brought up the Joe Biden secret pedophile island link. Pretty interesting. I brought this up to the tweet, and I couldn't hit the enter button. Every time I hit this enter button, it bounced back at me. Every time. I finally got it to stick after 3 attempts, but then I checked my information, and Justin Amash, who I follow, had wrote the same thing. He said, I get excessive tweets right now. I don't understand. And I wrote him back saying, hey, I'm getting excessive tweets too. Do you think maybe we could collaborate on stopping or at least exposing the deep state and stopping forced vaccinations? That'd be great, because he hasn't made a commitment to that at all. If anybody wants to be my VP, they have to agree that we cannot have forced vaccinations ever. If anyone wants to be my VP, they're going to have to deal with exposing the deep state, because we are not going to correct this problem if we don't. But when we both got the same exceeding messages at the same time, that's kind of weird that 2 third-party candidates would automatically get kicked off of Twitter at the same time. So there is a lot of censorship going on. We got a good video tonight on Bill Gates that came in. We played it earlier. He basically talks in a very cavalier way, like no big deal, that all people in the Moderna study are getting adverse reactions from the vaccines. Not some, but all. And he won't even comment. It's like he doesn't even care. And we'll be playing this video, 15-minute video tonight in our after show. We'll also be playing the full uncut video of George Floyd, which has not yet been seen in our show, but I'm really not that interested in seeing it because it is kind of bringing up old news that I've already debunked. We showed George Floyd at that location. You know that they spent over an hour out there, and one of the body camera footages was destroyed. It was like they set it up across the street for photo opportunities, and then they pulled a medical dummy out of the car, out of the SUV. Everything about the George Floyd thing looks more and more like a complete false flag. Everything, including the Masonic theater that was involved in doing the presentation. And I showed you various pictures of that already in our show previously. There are medical dummies that look identical to George Floyd in the face. It's very likely that they found a person who looked like a medical dummy. And they said, okay, we can use the medical dummy to show the neck being compressed. The official autopsy said that he died of a fentanyl overdose. I don't know what to believe at this point, but I'm pretty sure the medical dummy was used in the scene creation, which was designed to trigger the Minneapolis violence, which, again, I go back to the simple fact that this is government-planned anarchy. That's what's going on right now. They're literally creating the anarchy that they want to create martial law with. I agree, Trevor. I am younger. True. All right, we'll bring in the other background. So why would they do this? Why would they create anarchy? It's never been done in the world, but if you look at this as a New World Order plot, and you really have to understand this has been in the works since Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and even before with the Rockefeller Foundation. They want our country to break down so that they can erase our borders. That's why Trump isn't even building that fence I was telling you about. It's a joke. I mean, the whole thing's a joke. They want an open border. They want all our countries to serve a global master. And unfortunately for them, that's not going to happen. Fortunately for us, I'm going to stop them. Because there's no way I'm going to sit back as the incredible person that I am and stand back and watch my nation getting ripped apart by a bunch of global pigs who think they own us. Now, we're common people. We're average people. We have people coming into our show daily and sharing their lives, like Zetterbeard. Zetterbeard's in the show right now, hanging out in his cool location with his light show in the background, and he came in and he decided to donate a professional account over at iVlog so we actually can play, and we have slots for other people to join the broadcast. So thanks to Zetterbeard, we're now able to open up to other chatters. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And according to this link that just came from Scissor Fight, the hospitals are still empty.
Sibley Hospital Center. No one's in there, obviously. Here we go.
Okay, so they're saying there's a big COVID surge right now, and there isn't. Take a look at this hospital. This Scissor Fight just posted this on 153.
Where's all the sick people? Where's all the COVID patients? Where's all the COVID patients? Where are they? Where's the ICU? Huh? Where's everybody that's sick? We're in a pandemic. Look, it's empty, everybody. It's empty, everybody. It's empty. Security at the front door, like usual, in every hospital in Maryland, D.C., Virginia. Yeah, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Where's all the sick people? Where's all the sick people? Where's the medical pandemic? Where is it? Where's the medical pandemic? Where's all the COVID patients? Everything's closed. Where's everybody? Nobody's here. It's empty. Look at this. The whole hospital corridor is completely empty, everybody. It's empty.
Empty.
Empty. Get out of my face. Empty. It's empty. It's empty. Look at this. Look at this testing center, everybody. What is this bullshit? Air conditioner?
Empty.
Air conditioner. Look at this tent. Big old tent set up. Where's everybody? Medical pandemic, right? Medical pandemic. Security waiting for me. Everywhere I go, security's waiting for me. Huh? Where's everybody? Empty parking lot, empty hospital. This is Sibley Hospital. This is a giant hospital center. It's empty.
It's empty.
No one is here. Look, everybody.
Empty.
Nobody is here. Nobody's here. It's fucking empty.
Thank you, Scissor Fight. I appreciate that. That guy really spelled it out. Empty. So, where have all the COVID patients gone? Yeah, we don't know. And I asked the proverbial question, and I've asked this many times in the room, has anyone seen anybody coughing in their mask? Because if this was a real outbreak and we were seeing a second wave, we'd be seeing some evidence of people coughing. And almost everybody has never seen anybody coughing in their mask.
In their mask.
In their mask. Like,
We saw somebody coughing, remember?
I saw somebody coughing at the pizza store. We bought a pizza recently, and it kind of looked like a dry cough. But we then immediately, wash our hands when we get near our pizza box. But yeah, it's just incredibly difficult to believe something when we just don't have the proof. Now, if you want to check it out yourself, go to #FilmYourHospital at Twitter. Film Your Hospital is a hashtag. There will be evidence of nobody at the hospital. You won't see any busy hospitals on that category at all, even back in the first wave. So you're welcome to check it out. I am going to keep that in archive, though. That's a good one. I'll come back to that later. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. And Trump says Microsoft should pay key money to Treasury for facilitating a TikTok deal. I get this weird feeling like this whole TikTok thing was created by Trump. All the desire to ban TikTok. I almost think that he wants money now, and he wants the Treasury Department to get money from Microsoft to do the deal. It looks to me like Bill Gates has got some financial control over Donald Trump. Like maybe he's floating him a loan, and maybe he wants to work the deal to buy TikTok. It looks really fishy. Anyway,
doing that with other world leaders?
He may have been doing that with other world leaders. Yeah, bribery is not impossible in a position where a guy's constantly making money on his business. That's the sad thing about having Trump as president, because he is profiting left and right. Ivanka had a record profit last year. So did Jared. All right, I'm going to bring Sarah into the show, and she's going to take over. I'll be back with a recorded broadcast in just a bit. If you want to watch her live, you have to catch the show. If not, you might be able to catch her on our Twitter show later. Okay, well, that was a nice little session with Sarah. Thank you. We're talking about Microsoft and how they're now planning on buying TikTok upon Donald Trump's request. You notice how Donald Trump is protecting George Soros and Bill Gates? You notice that? Yeah, it's weird. He won't turn on his good friend George Soros, who loaned him $160 million for the Trump Towers. And he won't say anything bad about Bill Gates, which makes me think that this TikTok deal, where Donald Trump says he wants to get a certain amount for essentially making the deal happen, he wants the Treasury Department to get that. It's almost like he wants a kickback, like he's working on a commission. And I'm beginning to think that Donald Trump took out a loan with Bill Gates. That's what I'm beginning to guess. Yeah. Well, if the recommended dose of vitamin D per day is 500 international units. Yeah, so I don't know where you're coming from, man. It's 400 units, yeah. 400 IUs. Now, this is October 18th, 2017. The Mayo Clinic said 400 IUs is necessary. You're saying that's 10 times less than what I should be taking. I'm taking 500. You see how you kind of look like an idiot in the show? I'm going to put you on mute. I do believe the natural origins for vitamins are better than chemical ones. Yeah, I've been using a lot of natural vitamins. It's called food. You're saying that people are worried that Chinese could spy by TikTok, but with Microsoft buying it, now it's sure they will spy on us. Yeah, exactly. Donald Trump isn't making a lot of sense. Why would he ask Bill Gates and Microsoft, or I should say, the de facto minority leader of Microsoft, the CEO? Yeah, he claims he's working with Satya Nadella. I don't know. I was talking to Satya Nadella. the other day, and I did not hear him talking about TikTok. So if you want to believe that this is all, an up and up deal where everyone's pretending to be, who they say they are, when everyone's wondering, is Satya really leading Microsoft or is Bill Gates? That is a great question. Many people realize that many people are told that Bill Gates is leading Microsoft. Yeah, so you're having a vitamin deficiency problem. Yes. I think he may be in charge of something. Shillgates. Call him Shillgates. Okay, Shillgates. Let's get back in the room. Welcome to the show. I don't know if I like this background or not. It's a little too sci-fi techie for me for this terrible day. On this infamous day. I think we could have something a little bit more realistic, maybe as a background. The cybernetic future of mankind. It would be more appropriate for you to understand where you're going as a nation. Well, not according to Mayo Clinic 2017. The recommended dose is 400 IU. So I'm not sure where your people are coming from. Thank you. Bye. Oh, children aged 60 up to 12 months. Oh, okay. It's 600 IU for ages 1 to 70 years. So I should step it up a little bit. Okay, I'll do that. I don't have any feeling of problems. I get so much vitamin D in my sun, and I get my sun every day, and yeah. So 600, I'll step it up to. I agree. We are what we eat. You're a slob. Oh, sorry. It's too bad we can't really eat slobbery, Where have all the chat rooms gone? Did they go to the FEMA camps? BizId said, did they go to the FEMA camps? That's a good question. Did they go? A lot of Portland people have been hauled out of their homeless tents and taken somewhere else. We don't know where they went. Wouldn't you like to know? Inquiring minds need to know. Where have all the homeless people gone? In Portland, Oregon. Where have they gone? Were they taken to the extermination centers? Oh, you need the what's going on guy? Okay, let me bring you guys what you want, which is to get all these things out of the way. Because we are in the recorded broadcast, but I don't mind playing some stuff for you.
Hey, do you ever wonder, what is going on? I mean, do you ever, wake up or do something and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
A short while later, with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I didn't. Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
I'm glad that's over with. Jeez, I get through this every night. These people come at me every night. Play the video with Larry Sinclair, this and that. It's like, gosh, man. Let me just do the show. Yeah. Hey, so I have a plan for a safer 5G network with all kinds of safeguards in place because, as you probably know from watching our show, the government has not tested the 5G for safety. And there's no reason to believe that it cannot be weaponized. So we have to assume it could be weaponized. So I have come up with a better idea to put Faraday shields, which essentially are like metal screening material, over every 5G beacon, every single tower. And limiters, they'll keep it to 50 volts, because right now they're set at 450 volts, which will basically fry you if they ramp up the energy. Everyone in the field of vision or who are currently in the direction of a triangulation of two different beams, 5G beams, would definitely be hit with what could be called a pencil beam technology. Pencil beam technology was designed to kill people. It was a military development in the 70s. Brary Trower, the English expert on the subject, has compared the 5G to the microwave weapons he used back in the old days. So we have a lot to worry about. We really do. We have a lot to be concerned about. Without any safeguards in place, all of this could be taking away your Second Amendment right. So say you reach for your gun and say, "You can't come at me, I'll grab my gun." They hit a button and go like, and your whole body fries. Your lungs will become way worse than any COVID-19 within seconds. You will essentially be terminated. Maybe you're a dissident. Maybe the drone found you watching porno in your house. And porno has been outlawed as of 2027. Maybe you're living in that world in the future. The drone sees you masturbating, and so they immediately take you out for being a masturbator. Or possibly a masked debater. Maybe you're questioning the use of a mask. Maybe 7 years from now, when we're all required to wear masks everywhere we go, even inside our house, our television will be looking at us and say, "Hey, you're not wearing a mask," and you'll be considered a dissident, and they'll terminate you with the 5G triangulated pencil beam technology. That's the world we're headed toward, folks. If you don't want to build a third party and you want to let the Democrats, Republicans bumble their way forward with bumbling Biden and the repeat liar Donald Trump, then go right ahead. Feel free. Just let it all happen, and you'll wonder, gee, why didn't I start a third party with David back in 2020 when he was warning me about the world, the dystopian world we're all living in? Well, here I am, and here you are. Let's decide what to do, shall we? Sony's sending out PS Plus discounts to subscribers. Boy, they must be really desperate. That's sad. Trying to make money. You know, it's hard to make money in a world that was shut down by our president. "I shut down the greatest economy of the world. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down." That's Donald Trump's logic. They told him to shut it down, so he shut it down. Now, I've never met John super long. I caught John Holmes looking at me in a parking lot once. Yeah, Century City, the famous porno actor John Holmes. I'm pulling into a gas station. I'm parked there, and I'm looking out the window, and right about I'd say 60 feet away, John Holmes comes out of this dirty bookstore that they sold books at the airport down in LA. And he's looking right at me. It's like, "What are you looking at me for, buddy?" And I noticed that's John Holmes. So I'm not sure why these people were looking at me. I don't know. Yeah, I was at a gas station. He was at one of those XXX. He was coming out of one of those XXX places that he was involved with a lot of that stuff back then, you know. Ron Jeremy, I don't know, he's been charged with 4 or 5, 6 counts of statutory rape. Yeah, we don't understand why Sony's giving discounts. I mean, are they desperate? No, I don't think. You know, it was like just a couple of years before those weird murders occurred, and he died right after that. Now, this is a 60, I'd say $100 tie. Yeah, the name brand on this is called a Rebellino. Very high end Rebellino. You couldn't find this for less than $100. You particularly couldn't find it because you don't have enough money to walk into a store like the store I didn't get this at. It was given to me by a friend. Right, the Wonderland murders. That was what John Holmes was involved in, allegedly. Africa became testing ground for the trust stamp vaccine record and payment system. No kidding. Are you serious? They're doing that already? They're trying to put the ID 2020 cryptocurrency plan in place in Africa. You know, I heard Bill Gates tried to bribe the Nigerian president with $10 million to force vaccinate his children. And the guy said, I will not take your bribe. But somebody in Africa must be desperate for money because Bill Gates is handing it out. There you have it. Africa to become testing ground for trust stamp vaccine record and payment system. Look at that. A new biometric identity platform partnered with the Gates-funded Gavi Vaccine Alliance and MasterCard will launch in West Africa and combine COVID-19 vaccinations, cashless payments, and potential law enforcement applications. Wow. You see how they're already trying to ramp this up? They're that close to putting this into operation in the U.S. And you only have like this election to stop them. You realize that you're all ready to be taken to the FEMA camps after the COVID testing is put in place, right? You'll either be consigning your soul to Satan and take the chip and the vaccine, or you'll be sent to the FEMA camps. That will be your option. Right now, you got a chance to vote, but you won't have the chance to vote after that. This is your last chance to save America. Yeah, good luck. Hey, I've been doing this for 12 years and I still can't get any mainstream media attention and nobody seems to care. I can't even get Sarah to care about this. She just doesn't care. She's just like completely detached from concern about the fact that we are censored. I told her today about how this guy, Lot Lizard, who's been stalking me, was posting a picture of his brand new swim spa. And I had to write a letter to Twitter. I had to complain. I reported the guy to Twitter. And I said, the guy literally in the video is bragging about how somehow the money he made off of censoring us paid for that swim spa. He said, thanks, Dave. And then he turns around and points to the garbage can. See that? That's where you eat out of the garbage can, where I don't have to do that. And the guy is just completely, he's impersonating someone in my family, and he's not someone in my family. So I told her this is what's happening, and she's like, really? Yeah, the guy has like lots of money. They're all millionaires. Lot Lizard, T. Rucker, United American, they're all the only friends that Mark has. They're all making millions of dollars on this, and many of you don't even believe it. It's kind of amazing. I find it hard to believe. I mean, I've got photographs of his swim spa and him talking about it. All right, well, it's too bad you don't want to, get on board the truth wagon, but that's your choice. We're all here for free, really. I give my time for free. I don't have any requirements. You don't have to pay me. I try to alert people of the fact that we are being taken on a massive psyops. The whole corona thing is this ridiculous over-dramatization of what's happening. You're on the fear train right now if you're living in America. I'm not rich. No, these people are rich. I have just enough money to survive the rest of my life and living in poverty. I'm not rich. Pretty good stuff. The fear train. So we've got that going on. We've got a lot of stuff in our coronavirus section. Freak Bill Gates explaining how he wants to potentially eradicate the human species. And this woman right here, Emmanuel, Dr. Emmanuel, has been ripped apart by the media, acting like she's some sort of a witch doctor. Just because she made allegations and statements that she feels she's experienced the benefits of a certain drug. She was banned on Facebook and Twitter, and YouTube was required to remove all of her videos. And the media is running around calling her some sort of a witch doctor. It's like, no, she's a qualified pediatrician. She has a license and everything. Now, I have not been tested, but 600,000 accidentally told that they had COVID-19 when they said they had not been tested. This is a pretty good story. I don't wear Armani underwear. No need. Okay, more than 600,000 people in TRICARE, a healthcare program of the United States Department of Defense military, received emails July 17th asking if they would donate blood for research as survivors of COVID-19. But just 31,000 people affiliated with the U.S. military have been officially diagnosed with coronavirus, which prompted confusion. Military.com reported last week. A lot of people got the emails. They didn't send any samples for COVID-19, but Humana issued a mea culpa. Military.com wrote, in an attempt to educate beneficiaries who live close to convalescent plasma donation centers about collection opportunities, you received an email incorrectly suggesting you were a COVID-19 survivor. You have not been identified as a COVID-19 survivor, and we apologize for the error and any confusion it may have caused. Total rollbacks. Even Robert Redstone, Dr. Robert Redstone of the CDC, admitted yesterday in front of an audience, he said that many of the people who die having tested positive for COVID, die of another disease, are still being called COVID-19, and that's wrong. So all the studies and all the stats that the CDC's presented have been wrong up to this point, based on Robert Redstone's testimony. Nice, huh? No, I don't carry any underwear that looks like a thong, sorry. Well, they probably did count those people as COVID infections, even though even the COVID test is 81% inaccurate, and the CDC won't even admit that, too. So there's a lot of disinformation going right now. Samizdat says vitamin D conversions are going on here. Okay. You're looking to convert your units? You know, I used to take a tablespoon of cod liver oil every day as a kid. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I didn't get sick as much after I was sick. I was very sick for about 6 years. I had almost all the flus on earth at that point when I was a kid. Then my mother gave me cod liver oil, 1 tablespoon, which is equivalent to 400 IUs. Yeah, it's not bad. It helps. It doesn't hurt. So, Conspiracy Monday. Perhaps the biggest conspiracy this week has been a story that many people are trying to forget was even out there. I posted a story earlier. I'll show it to you. Essentially, the debunkers ran a story claiming that there is no Joe Biden property in the Virgin Islands. And I've been talking about Biden, how he bought property in the Virgin Islands, and there's a whole video about it that I linked to people. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We saw about how Ghislaine Maxwell had a submarine base down there, and that how she's been working to create an underwater, here it is, an underwater, I guess it's a child torture center, allegations of a child torture center.
557 feet, but below this ship is a mini submarine with internal boarding. Ooh. Look at that.
Yeah.
So that mini sub right down here is that thing right there.
Yeah. And there Ghislaine Maxwell is getting off of mini subs. So this whole story of Epstein Island keeps growing in nature because the government didn't really do their due diligence. They completely covered it up. And like Alex Acosta said, he was told by the FBI to give Jeffrey Epstein a light sentence because Jeffrey Epstein was in and I quote, intelligence, unquote. Same with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's in the Mossad. So they have this sham investigation going on, and the government has claimed that Ghislaine Maxwell is being transferred from one location to another, right where Jeffrey Epstein was. Basically, they claim he died at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. Well, now she claims that they claim that she's there now. And there's not one single mugshot of Ghislaine Maxwell since she was, quote, arrested, unquote. When I was a kid, I was up until the age of like 2 to 7 years old, basically 2 to 8 years old. 6 years, I was very sick. I am the original David, yes. Yeah, and then FBI divers have found human bones off Pedophile Island, but again, no effort by the FBI to trace the bones to the girls. 1,000 missing girls out of Miami have never been looked into by the FBI. Now that's dereliction of duty in every way. Everything points to the FBI and the CIA covering up what appears to be a Mossad child trafficking ring based out of Epstein Island. That's something we have to look at. Ironically, it's coming right from that source. When you look at the area around this area, you see deep water channels that could very well be submarine bases. Well, it turns out that Jeffrey Epstein bought Little St. James Island because it had a submarine base on it. For real. A retired military submarine base that we didn't use anymore. It turns out that Water Island, which is very close, also has a submarine base on it. Yeah. Well, when I ran the story on Twitter, I tried hitting the send button and it wouldn't send. Like I said earlier, I kept sending, it wouldn't send, so finally it sent, but essentially I said the debunkers are busy trying to discredit a story that Biden owns property near Epstein. Yet it turns out a search for the name, and this is from their story, a search for the name Biden reveals nothing for Joe Biden in the Virgin Islands. Only Sarah and James Biden. So I wrote, of course, Biden is going to hide it. Duh. When you think about it, why would a man who has a secret submarine base on an island near Epstein want to tell people he owns a secret submarine base on an island near Epstein? Seriously, it's absurd. So I went on Googling and I was looking for Joe Biden's net worth, right? Well, there's some strange anomalies about Joe Biden's net worth. Just 2 years ago, I looked at his net worth and it was no more than $2 million. A couple of months ago, I looked at it and it was $8 million. Now it's $11 million. You notice how quick his net worth is growing? And I'm beginning to think that he doesn't even have a published net worth that's real. That maybe he was doing deeds on the side like Burisma and getting money to get reelected in 2016. We know he got $900,000 from Burisma to get reelected or get elected in 2016. So it's very possible that Biden's net worth is very low compared to what it really is. Many of the dollars that Joe Biden have may be in the same places that Barack Obama's money is located. Now, Barack Obama claims to have, it won't even establish a connection. Look at that. It won't even come up. It's being DDoSed. No one wants Joe Biden to actually see his net worth. Look at that. It won't even open. Look at that. That's a foxbusiness.com site. It won't even open. Ha! Look at that. So I was looking for Barack Obama's net worth. And it turns out that last I checked, it was 70,000, or excuse me, 70 million. Right. It's all over the place. Right here it says it's 40 million, and here it says it's 70 million, right here. 40 million, 70 million, so it's all over the place. It turns out that Barack Obama's father, Lolo Soetoro, was the 15th richest man in the world. Barack Obama must be in the billions, seriously. Lolo Soetoro had one beneficiary, and it was Barack Obama. Did you ever hear about that? No, nothing. I know, the main character in C-Lab 2021 looks just like Jeffrey Epstein. You showed me that. I know. We had a picture of that jet setter, the C-Lab guy. We have the theme song from C-Lab. Does that help? I'm looking for the main character. There he is. You're right. He looks just like Jeffrey Epstein. Good point. So let's suffice to say that the main character in C-Lab is Jeffrey Epstein. You want to do that? Let's take a look at the similarities between their faces. I'm grabbing the most recent picture of, well, not the most recent picture of Jeffrey Epstein, because Jeffrey Epstein was seen in Puerto Vallarta recently. Wow. Look at that. You're right, man. The look of C-Lab. Now that's a pretty close match, you got to admit. Yeah. You got a good eye there, buddy. Yeah. You can morph those faces together pretty closely. Yeah. All right, thank you for your input. That was a show on Ted Turner's network, too. Good point. And Ted Turner's tied into that whole idea of getting rid of the population, 95% of the population. Hey, Zitterbeard, you're checking out? Okay, man. Oh, you're back. If you guys want to cam up, we have a camera opportunity over at our main website. If you don't know what that main website is, coolrock.com is the hub that I offer people to get into our show. And if you want to go to coolrock.com, you can actually access that panel and get in the show now that Zetterbeard turned our account into a pro account. You do have to use Flash, though. Cool Rock is a fun site to hang out at. We got lots of games, great things to discover. It's like a scavenger hunt on the internet. It's all free and it's all fun. You know, I never really trained with nunchucks. I'm not a nunchucks guy. We also have a music board. I was attacked by a guy with nunchucks one day in Westwood. It was weird. I had to park. I was in traffic with a friend of mine. I was talking rather loud because we were having a good time, and his window was down, and he was yelling. And the guy next to us got out of his car and thought that I was talking to him or somebody was yelling at him, and he was this Korean man who pulled out his nunchucks. He got out of his car and he started whipping his nunchucks around. Anyway, I was thinking, what do I do with a guy with nunchucks? He's coming at me. And he was literally screaming at me, thinking I was talking to him. It was weird.
Let's fly away. Let's fly away. Let's fly away. Taking your time so slow. Let's fly away.
You can play music anytime you want at Cool Rock. A lot of fun stuff here to discover and experience what's going on. There's an emergency chat room here. If we ever lose contact, you can reach me here. But remember, your IP will be seen by others. Play music, enjoy the keyboard, and this is a really interesting gateway to the internet. If you go to the middle of this screen here in the croutons, and right next to the type button is a circle. And click the circle right there, and you'll run into a gallery of three-dimensional virtual reality experiences, which really go deep into an experience of every single dimension you could imagine. It's almost beyond belief how cool this is. I just ignored the guy. Basically, he got back in his car and left. Yeah, Cool Rock is not. You can play rock. Yes, you can actually record your music there. If you go up to this button right here and click on record a song, you click that. It opens up a Vocaroo website, which gives you the ability to record everything on your sound card, including your microphone. Click that, and then just start playing. And you'll be recording a song of amazing nature. And you can use this back music as a rhythm section. We've got a variety of rhythm sections here too. If you want, you can just go through a whole library. There's just many things to play. Pretty fun, isn't it? So I created Cool Rock as a place to hang out and enjoy. You're welcome to do it anytime you want. It's not a big deal. Feel free. But you can watch our show and interact if you want to get on and chat with us. Like really, like get into the show. Okay. Having some problems at Twitch. Browser encountered an error. Let's see if I'm back up again. I get no viewers at Twitch, ever. And because you don't even know the site, I'll give you the link. I'm not sure what's going on. I have a feeling I'm heavily censored over there. So if you want to hang out in that room, it might get my numbers up. If you happen to have a Twitch account, you open it up on your computer, it'll get my numbers up, and I might get other people in the show. That's my only suggestion. Because they are heavily censoring us over there. Okay, getting back into the show. That was a great video of hospitals being empty we saw earlier. Very cool. We've got a pretty powerful movie tonight in our Conspiracy Monday show. It's a 19-minute movie about Tavistock. And many people don't realize, but Tavistock was originally devised out of the Nazi Germany psychology department. And they do contract work with the government, with the CIA and with MI5. Tavistock is an organization that they make about $7 billion from the CIA alone per year to do what is called mind programming. Social programming, and you're in Twitch right now, let's take a look. Yeah, you just popped in. Thank you, McGundy. Yeah, my number just went up 1. So it is working, but I think my numbers are so far down, no one will even see me. So it's going to require other people to get in there for my numbers to get up to even lure people in. It's like you almost have to bait the hook. Well, you found the screenshot from C-Lab? No kidding. And this is actually from a video where there are babies that are like cut up and beaten up. Wow. Like an aborted fetus down below. That's the most horrific thing I've ever seen, man. What the hell? That's from a C-Lab show? Wow, I can't even imagine. That's up there with a Butcher Block cover of the Beatles. Well, that kind of ties in with with the Tavistock, because the Beatles were going to produce an album which was a butcher block cover, and right around the time they were going to produce this, there was a huge controversy about Paul being dead. And the Beatles are mostly working out of a studio at this time. They did no, I think their last performance was Shea Stadium. They were kind of like Steely Dan, studio musicians. Well, this is the butcher block cover of Yesterday and Today, which later became the White Album. Because people felt that the chopping up babies and putting it on the screen was so horrible that it wouldn't go as an album for the Beatles. But ironically, according to some experts, the Beatles were originally created by the Tavistock Institute to nullify the threat of the growing baby boom population. The baby boomers themselves had a very large number of people, because right after the war, everyone was having sex and having kids, right? Well, the Tavistock and the government decided that they needed to redirect the people of the country away from violence. So they introduced a group called the Beatles, which they'd groomed for years. Hey Phil, how you doing? They groomed these people from the early days of Hamburg. Just nearby in Frankfurt, the Tavistock Institute was founding their original organization in 1946, and by 1964 or 63, they had their eyes on this group of this group of guys that were unassembled, and they didn't even have a name for what they did. And there were people like Stuart Sutcliffe in the group, and Stuart Sutcliffe was perhaps the best looking of the Beatles, but he strangely died in 1962, right around the time that the Tavistock came into existence with the Beatles. He was an incredible poet. His mother said he had a brain embolism. He was a musician and a poet. They say he was the best looking of the Beatles. Good looking guy, you can see that. He had a brain embolism and they never found out why he died. But a lot of characters were offed out of the group, like Pete Best, who many people thought was a better drummer than Ringo Starr. The early days had Pete Best as their lead drummer at the bottom of the screen. There's an early picture of George Harrison and Paul McCartney, the original Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and the guy at the bottom was Pete Best. Also a very good-looking guy. You can see how he kind of had the ladies thing going for him. They didn't want him. They wanted Ringo Starr. They cut Pete Best out of the deal. That's because the Beatles weren't making decisions. The Beatles were following orders. They were simply doing what they were told. Now, the Beatles took us on a mind trip. Within 5 years, they went from short-haired looking guys with kind of an innocent personality, with these bowl haircuts, to really radical drug addicts within 5 years. Well, that's exactly what the Tavistock used the Beatles for. Okay, thank you. They used the Beatles to carry the baby boomer generation through that period of rebellion on into the period of drug addiction. So when you showed me a picture of the C-Lab 2021 and pictures of babies like that, I immediately thought of the Beatles and the Butcher Block cover. Very likely the same people are involved in these operations where they want everyone to understand that they eat babies. That's what they do. You found Rosie's Reddit account, really? Wow. Cool, good for you. Nice. Rosie IRL has got a Reddit account. Aren't you special? David, people really this dumb? Let's take a look. Very interesting about the Tavistock. Okay, 82% of voters support a national face mask mandate. No, that's not a real poll. That's just propaganda. They want everybody to believe that masks will prevent the virus or whatever it is from spreading. Have you seen a video of Trump crying like a little beauty pageant queen? Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty funny. They morphed a kid's face onto Trump's. Yeah, that was very funny. Here's a story that's kind of reminiscent of what's happening. Yeah, so I don't believe this story, 82% of the people support a face mask. No, I don't believe that at all. Most people are uninformed. 100% of the people are uninformed. That poll is also probably true. Okay, this is another story that came into our existence. Autopsy shows a young Florida nurse died from a kidney infection, never had coronavirus. Wow. That's so sad. 33-year-old nurse Danielle DeCenzo passed away back in March. Her death was thought to be due to coronavirus.
Stunning update on a story we first brought to you months ago at the beginning of the COVID crisis.
It was a story you might remember. A young, healthy nurse from Wellington died reportedly after she was exposed to COVID-19 at the hospital where she worked.
And this afternoon, CBS 12 News obtained a copy of the medical examiner's findings. And as Lexi Nall reports, that 33-year-old nurse never had COVID-19 at all.
Wow.
Her death continued to be a mystery for her family and friends. How could a young, healthy nurse pass away one night in her sleep? Her husband immediately sounding the alarm about the dangers of coronavirus exposure for healthcare workers. In an interview with CBS 12 News back in April, an emotional David DiCenzo shared the heartbreaking news that his wife had passed away.
If you're young, if you show symptoms, don't try to fight this thing. It can get very serious very fast, and it'll take it, and you don't feel like it's taking the life out of you.
DiCenzo was sure his wife had been exposed to coronavirus at the hospital in Hialeah where she worked. Tested for COVID-19 on March 23rd, Danielle's results were inconclusive, so she quarantined, battling a cough and fever at home in Wellington. David says she was starting to feel better until the morning she didn't wake up.
Once I touched her, it was, she must have been gone for a couple hours, but she looked like she died in her sleep. So, it's like the oxygen just got taken out of her.
We can't be sure whether Danielle was struggling to breathe in the end, but her autopsy is clear. She was never infected with the coronavirus.
Now, we have to assume that she might have been infected with the coronavirus because the PCR test that was done on her is 81% ineffective. It produces false positives 81% of the time. And theoretically false negatives, too. Yeah. So it's an interesting story, but there's so many different factors.
Are you beautiful? Yes, I am beautiful. And you told me, you said if I was beautiful, I'm always beautiful.
That is hilarious. I've not seen this one. You just hit me with one clip after another. Are you trying to change my tempo here? No, I can't play clips from Die Hard. They'll monetize me. Even 2 seconds. No way. No. What's the relevance? Well, that's great. We're up to speed now on all our links. We're covering the bases. Good to know. I'm finally feeling like I've got my rhythm. This is the article that was trying to debunk the whole pedophile connection to Joe Biden on the island nearby, Epstein Island. You're welcome to read it. In it, they talk about 2 people in the Biden family owning property in the Virgin Islands. And they say, oh, Joe Biden doesn't own any island property there. Of course he doesn't. Okay, I'll click it for later, okay? Is that okay? I can do without 17 seconds. I can do 17 seconds without, Bruce Willis. After what happened between him and Demi Moore, I feel bad for her. Demi, if you're listening, feel free to call anytime. 707-YOUR-ATP. I can talk you through your problems with all the different situations that have happened recently. Demi Moore let her guard down, yeah. She talks about her life with Bruce Willis. After years of scrutiny for her career, relationships, and setbacks, the movie star hopes the public sees her in her memoir, Inside Out, the true story of Demi's struggle to retain her beauty and her looks. No, it's about her life. It's been a pretty rough run, you know. Yeah, when Ashton Kutcher was sleeping with another girl, another woman, while dating him, she wanted to protect certain portions of her life, including the confusing and all too abrupt childhood that preceded her choppy show business ascent. So yeah, Demi, give me a call. We can talk about your problems and about the world we live in. So getting back to the Tavistock Institute, because we can't even keep Phil Flanagan in our room over at Twitch. Jeez. I asked you to stay in there, man, not leave. The Tavistock has been known for doing work in this area, and they're also working on this transgender thing. They're involved with actresses and sex actresses, Illuminati puppets to produce transgender videos. You probably heard a few of them. That's their newest thing, the transgender thing. But when you talk about conspiracies, you can't really ignore the Tavistock. Oh, it's right in your face. Their origins really go back. We've got a lot of stuff on it.
One of the things you talked to me about the other day was the Beatles. Well, the Beatles were the creation of the Tavistock Institute. And you know, you have to go back to the college days on the writings of Aristotle. And I made a note this morning before I came on this program of what he said about music and its influence on politics. He said, emotions of any kind are produced by melody and rhythm. Therefore, by music, a man becomes accustomed to feeling the right emotions. Music has the power to form character, and the various kinds of music based on the various modes may be distinguished by their effect on character. One example, working in the direction of melancholy, another in the direction of femininity, one encouragement, abandonment, another self-control, another enthusiasm, and so on through the series. And what I discovered was that the actual Tavistock Institute took this up, this theme, and they said, we are going to put this into practice. And well before Theo Adorno, who was the creator of the Beatles, arrived in England, he was already well known to Tavistock.
So tonight we'll be playing an exclusive video of the police body cam footage that was obtained of the moment-by-moment arrest of George Floyd. But again, because we have 7 hours of missing body cam footage from the police in Minneapolis, we have to assume that this is not completely accurate. So we'll watch it, but it's not the whole story. That's still missing. And the use of the medical dummy. That's not part of this video either. But thanks. Yeah, we were going to play that later tonight. I had it slated. So lots of videos have been very off-key that don't make it to YouTube normally. And I'm having a hard time getting into any of my sites right now. You see that? This is an Australian video from PK about what's happening in his neck of the woods, Australia. It's very hard. These countries that live in the shadow of England are already implementing very draconian tactics to force people in their homes and COVID test everybody. They're rolling out the New World Order as we speak in these countries, not so much in America. Right now, America is just a bunch of hostages waiting to be, processed like guinea pigs. That's how it is for all of us. Most of us who are wondering why we aren't getting any answers from our government about the lies and the deceit and the manipulation of statistics, the fact that the COVID testing is inaccurate. The reason why they're not telling you the truth is because it destroys their chances of implementing their big plan. So, okay, apparently a new technique is being used to stop my show. I've seen this happen before. People are manipulating the show from behind the scenes, possibly the trolls in this backyard here. Oh, there they are. They're controlling the unmanned drone. It's pretty funny, isn't it? Oh, right. I want to stop my show and just wait for Sarah to come in and look at this. Oh, okay. I definitely want to show her that. Isn't that amazing? Two monkeys playing with an unmanned aerial vehicle. It's just phenomenal. It shows you how successful our military has been to train some of their cadets. Okay, this is brand new information from Misanthropy. He said seasonal flu vaccine effectiveness. It's gone down in its percentage of effectiveness for seasonal flu vaccines. You know, I've had Sarah convinced for years that flu vaccines were not effective because they only go after one type of flu virus. And there's over 200 flu viruses out there. Well, that's also the reasoning I would use regarding the COVID-19 vaccines that they're planning. There's just no way they're going to come up with one when there's over 110 variations of the COVID-19. And our government doesn't want to tell us that, so they keep us in the dark that way. But this is how ineffective flu vaccines have been as the years progressed. See that? They're getting less effective. And I don't even believe they've ever been effective myself. I think that they're contaminated with cancer-causing genes, so why would we even want to be stuck with a needle? In fact, how can they convince people to cover their mouth where they walk around with a mask for your safety, but they're going to inject you with a needle of known carcinogens? How do they do that? How do they convince people that that's better for you to get a needle injection than to wear a mask, which is absurd in and of itself? It's amazing to me how completely brain dead the human species has become. And that's by design, actually. You could probably train these monkeys to do this unmanned aerial vehicle better than most Americans right now, based on the level of stupidity that I'm watching around the country. We saw a guy just literally go wild at a... I played it earlier for the show. Go wild at a Walmart, beating up the Walmart executive. It was sad. Yeah. Well, let's be clear. Mirko has a link. Yep, and that other one with hospitals. Okay. Okay, here's a nurse laughing. An ER lady, Grove MD, is upset after viewing. Let's take a look.
Food, and there's no one in the hospital. Nobody. What's going on in this country? They discharged everybody. So there's nobody even in there. Nobody's in the hospital. How is that possible in a medical pandemic? Fake news. It's all fake news, isn't it? There's nobody in there. Is there anybody in there? No. But there's free food. And there's no one in the hospital. Nobody.
So they're not going in there for testing, they're going in there for free food. So in order to make it look like they have a line outside this COVID testing center, the nurses are laughing, really. In Shady Grove, Maryland, nobody's going in there, nobody's sick. This is the biggest hoax ever pulled on the American people. And the irony is there probably is a virus out there, it just isn't spreading the way they're talking about it. And they're certainly covering up the installations of 5G networks across the nation, which very, very suspiciously has not been tested for safety. So as you sit here and ponder what's the future like and do nothing, your future's already laid out for you. You're going to be sent to a FEMA camp if you don't accept the mark of the devil. Now, if you don't want that to happen, now's your time right now to start building this third party with me. Otherwise, you might as well walk the plank to your destiny, because that's basically what's happening right now. It's almost like you've reached the end of the rope. And I've been doing this show for 12 years to try to wake you up to start this third party with me. And I've been modestly successful at just staying going. Against all odds, I'm barely hanging in there. We hardly ever get donations. We do this because we have to, because these people want to stop me so bad. But it's because I am making a dent in it that they're trying to stop me so bad. They know that this third party could unite the country and stop this two-party tyranny. They know that. I know, they're oblivious. The workers, they actually said, oh, this is all fake news. They're laughing because they get a paycheck to go along with the lie. You know, frankly, you can give lifelong useless welfare toothless losers a voice because technically we're all equal vote here, no matter how or where you are, what financial backing it. One of the reasons why we have equal votes for people, despite their relative place in the socioeconomic ladder, is because we want people to have a chance to change their world collectively. But there are no measures to stop this propaganda that the Tavistock has been engaged in. These are very subliminal methods that they've been using to seduce us into kind of a mind gap where we just think, well, I guess we're free after all. Meanwhile, they're getting ready to lock us all up. Yeah, they've been using a lot of techniques to make you into an apathetic person that you are. I used to wonder, how is this possible? They teach us that we have a democracy. We don't have a democracy. They teach us that we have a republic. We don't have a republic. We have a group of corrupt pigs running our country because they like to make money. That's basically it. And they borrow money to do it. Pelosi and Trump are just raring to make some more money on another stimulus plan once they iron out the details. Now, one particular professor believes that Pelosi could very likely become our president in lieu of all this nonsense. Yeah. So there you have it. A 14-year-old, what? This isn't the article I was looking for. That's weird. Harvard professor explains how President Pelosi could become a reality if the election's not decided on time. Now, I think we could even postpone the election in lieu of all the fear the Democrats have about leaving their home. And Donald's concerned about write-in ballots. So it's very possible we'll have to wait till we have the ability to actually vote in a safe and sane and non-biased way and uncorrupted by corruption and hacks. It may be 2027 that we'll have our first election next. What do you think? Maybe 2028 we'll have this election? We're too busy living up to the fear and paranoia of the Democratic Party right now. Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe explains last week how President Nancy Pelosi could become a reality. Last week, Trump triggered an alarm when he suggested delaying the presidential election with universal mail-in voting, absentee voting, which is good, not absentee voting, which is good. 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. It will be a great embarrassment to the USA. Delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote. I'm glad they gave him spell check because he really has to struggle with that stuff. There are significant concerns regarding how to safely conduct the election during the coronavirus panic. Democrats suggest mailing voter ballots, but Republicans claim the method will increase the influence of voter fraud, even though there's not a lot of evidence of that. But New York there is. In the recent election, Donald Trump said New York's regionals were really corrupt. He says a lot of things. Speaking with MSNBC host Joy Reid on Friday, Tribe explained that if the election is not settled on time, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi could temporarily become president via a constitutional failsafe. There is a procedure, it's a very elaborate procedure, in every state for resolving disputes by the date of the so-called safe harbor on December 8th. So really all of the efforts that Trump is making to both pretend that he can extend the date of the election, which everyone understands he can't do that. The date is set at November 3rd by act of Congress. All that is designed simply to cast doubt in a way that Putin wants to, in the way that Bannon has tried to do for time and the ability of our system to work. They're trying to make it look chaotic, but there's a fail-safe mechanism built into the Constitution itself. Wouldn't it be great if we would require all presidential candidates to pass a perversion and Alzheimer's test? How about a lie detector test? Do you fantasize about having children in your bed with you and have Joe Biden take the lie detector test? And he'll stop talking about his legs and his hair and how he likes to have children touch his hair and his legs and all that stuff. And then he'll talk about roaches. And this is the guy the Democrats think is going to be the big winner and is going to carry the nation.
Was he smoking roaches?
We don't know what he was smoking. He says he knows roaches and he knows his hair and his legs. I don't know. I'd rather pick
Sponheim,
yeah, or John D. Rockefeller. You know, maybe he could act as acting president from the dark recesses of time. The man who killed 100 million people with a bad vaccination in 1918 when they spread the college flu, the Spanish flu. So these girls were laughing. Total empty situation at a COVID testing center. This guy walked up and said, "Hey, you know what's going on?" And they literally said, "This is in Maryland, Shady Grove, Maryland. Shady Grove."
What's going on in this country? They discharged everybody. So there's nobody even in there.
Nobody's in there.
Nobody's in the hospital. How is that possible in a medical pandemic?
That's fake news, that's why.
Fake news. It's all fake news, isn't it? There's nobody in there. Is there anybody in there? No.
There's a few.
But there's free food. And there's no one in the hospital.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Okay, I chose to the mic down because I didn't want to violate any YouTube standards. Yeah. But I will say this, that the seasonal flu vaccine effectiveness is not great, according to the stat. And Sarah was shocked to see this just now. The effectiveness has not been very good over the years because there's so many different flu viruses. And just like with COVID-19 mutating, the RNA messenger unit is mutating, they'll never be able to create a vaccine that'll work. Now, the Moderna studies have shown that everybody who takes the vaccines that they've tried in the third stage trials are having bad side effects. And tonight we've got a video about that in detail at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock I start the evening show. And in that we'll be playing a view from Bill Gates' perspective, which was shocking. We played it earlier. He was told by one of the interviewers that there has been 100% of the people getting side effects. They're bad. And he said, well, we're not really. He didn't even care. He could care less that people are having terrible side effects, all of them, from his Moderna vaccine that he's working on. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible to create a vaccine for a mutating virus. And anybody who looks at this realistically realizes that the vaccination is driving the pandemic. They're pushing the pandemic, they're faking the numbers, they're manipulating data, so that all of us step in line like a bunch of trained animals heading off to the slaughter, just like they did in 1918 with John D. Rockefeller and the 100 million people that he killed with a bad vaccination. Terrible. I'll be back in a bit. Sarah's going to give me a break. So we're looking at the Israeli forces. Actually, they're saying Israel Defense Forces said that in response to an attempted IED attack near the security fence between Syria and Israel last night, they just took out observation posts, targets in Syria. So the Israeli Defense Forces are openly admitting to what they're doing here. They're hitting anti-aircraft artillery. This isn't the first time. I remember back in 2007, they took out an entire nuclear facility in Syria. The Israeli Defense Forces, they're vigilant. They want to maintain security. That's the deal. So, don't you feel so much more safe with knowing that full well that Big Brother is going to take care of you while they're planning anarchy around you? Doesn't it make you feel really confident that your country's really being run by a bunch of competent people, right? That they would create the Minneapolises and the Atlantas and the Portland, Oregons of America, our trusted leaders, so that they would usher in a new form of new world order governance using cybernetics and robocops. That's what's happening. How are you tonight? How are you doing? Hey, by the way, Misanthropy, I was looking up that place that Metanemesis was looking for. You know, that place he's going to be moving to. And it's in the same county as that woman you're involved in. It's kind of funny. You know, the one you like, the woman that... Anyway, a side conversation about, late night chatters that want to keep up to speed. Yeah, it's weird. It's the county's named after her. Okay, I guess we got rid of all the links. Oh no, we got another layer. So why would the government create planned anarchy? Well, to justify martial law and to get rid of the First, Second, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments. So that's why I say we're under attack, and all this is connected. Truly. They're issuing forth all kinds of bizarre things. COVID testing, tracing. They're already doing it in Israel. We talked about that earlier. 12,000 people mistakenly were quarantined by phone tracking systems that didn't work properly. This idea of quarantining people ahead of a flu is absurd. It is tantamount to imprisonment. And we don't have any rights because of it. They're being taken away gradually or quickly, depending on how fast they want to implement these plans. Wow, this is an interesting study on protective effects of dietary xylitol on influenza A virus infections. Yeah, xylitol. Who would ever think that's possible? These are just, things we were looking, I guess, in the pre-show. All kinds of articles. Propaganda. Oh yeah, Edward Bernays' study of how they wanted to manipulate our mind. This is kind of where it all started, where Tavistock started with Edward Bernays. Yeah. His work, 1891 to 1995. That's his lifespan. Truly a organizing chaos. That's part of it. That's the planned anarchy. The new propaganda, the new propagandists, the people trying to push their agenda of forced tracing, COVID tracing, their communist agenda, the Antifa-crats, the psychology of public relations, business and the public, how the media affects. He was way ahead of his time. Really, the media, which we now know is very much the propaganda wing. Women's activities, propaganda for education. Many people don't realize, but the Rockefellers were behind the organization of the NEA, National Education Association. And the Rockefeller Foundation really is at the bottom of the root of what's happening right now. We do know that the core of their element ascends into like Soros as one of the arms, the people that are doing the active fundraising and fund paying of the Antifa and Black Lives Matter terrorist groups. We also know that Soros, Gates work together, and Warren Buffett all own the Acme Brick Company, which was responsible for putting bricks out in every area of the country. So that was planned government insurrection right there. We know these are all acts of treason, by the way. Every one of these is prosecutable by the acts of treason, articles of treason. We can easily implement this strategy to stop these people. But without political power and without me running for being your president, it's highly unlikely we'll ever get anywhere. The good news is I think we're going to get there. I just don't know how. And I've been thinking about this at great length, pondering our fate in this world and what we're doing. And how this isn't exactly we're not fixing the problem by doing a show every night, but we do keep the dialogue going. That's the important thing. We're fulfilling that. They're forcing people to stay at home again. It's all BS. Total guest 815, I agree. This total forced staying in homes. There is no evidence of a second wave. So we're totally now having to embrace, again, the concept of civil disobedience. Now, civil disobedience is completely legal. There's nothing illegal about it. But they tell you to stay at home. You go out. You take a trip in your car. Believe me, if you don't burn gas in your car, they won't have a need to sell gas. And we won't have gas pretty soon, if that's the case. So civil disobedience is the lever that we use to challenge these big companies owned by George Soros, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates. 81% ownership of Acme Brick is the Berkshire Hathaway company, which is, they ordered the bricks. Let's face it, Trump is covering for them right now, won't even investigate this. The QAnon group keeps propping up Trump every time he says something. Oh, he's going to do something. It's like waiting for Godot. It never happens. Chemtrailing could cause significant increases in hospitalizations among the elderly. They're waiting for kind of what Judy Mikovits said. It's kind of they're covering for all these different diseases that will be coming out because of bad vaccines that have been given out in flu shots. It's like they're waiting for something they predicted in the labs but aren't really ready yet to see happen. So you're seeing empty tents everywhere, hospitals that are completely like ghost towns. So we're seeing a lot of that. But what you can do is just do whatever you want to do. They can't tell you to wear a mask, but if you don't wear a mask in a building that says you have to wear a mask, you could be in trouble. There are a lot of people that want to enforce it themselves, citizens who don't realize that there's no law that says you have to wear a mask. These mandates by the governors are completely unconstitutional. Jim Brewski made a good point. He said, your choice will be to starve to death or be vaccinated. And I'm gonna opt for starve to death because I know I can survive in any situation under any circumstance. Yeah, I would opt for starving to death than to be vaccinated. Now, say for instance they decide to, pushing their agenda forward about 3 months, and Joe Biden bumbles his way to the presidency, babbling as he does, talking about non sequiturs and tangential things all over the place. But they still prop him up because they say he doesn't want to debate. So I don't think he's going to debate. I don't think they're going to have a debate because Joe can't handle a conversation. Meanwhile, their numbers are still strong. The key is to flex that middle section of swing voters that are right now on the edge and sell them on a third party. Get them to write my name in. If I have stacks of write-in votes in every state, they're going to count those votes. 10,000 is my minimum I have to reach to get counted. There's going to be laws that say I don't qualify because I didn't apply as a write-in candidate. I'm still legally able to be a write-in candidate in America under all the laws like the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law. I can defend myself saying no state can keep a barrier in front of me being a write-in candidate in their state. The 14th Amendment supersedes the 10th Amendment on this issue. States can handle their own elections by law, but anything that the federal government handles, the U.S. election should be standardized by law in order to meet and comply with the 14th Amendment, and that has never been battled out. That'll have to be a battle in court. But either way, wherever this election goes, we're going to be heading into some muddy waters, either way. If it goes into Trump's hand, if he continues on, we'll be safe for at least 4 more years of the COVID tracing. That'll buy us some significant amount of time if Trump were to win this. Trump can't turn to his populists right now, which are mostly QAnoners, and say, oh, by the way, we're going to have to force COVID trace everybody. All of you will have to go in line and join over. There will be a massive uprising like you would never see. Being those are the people that are completely armed and ready to go. You have a mask video? Okay. So if it goes to Trump, we're going to buy 4 more years of potential support from the right. Ironically, the people that have been supporting Trump all along are also standing for our freedoms. Now, I'm speaking to Democrats too right now who are thinking about Biden. Now, I wouldn't be selling the idea of Trump or me as your president, but I have to at this point because Biden has become so leftist. He supports the Muslim Brotherhood. He's taken money from them through the conduit of Black Lives Matter. We know that for a fact. Biden is getting direct funding, and so are all the other Democrats through Dubai and foreign governments. So Biden is essentially not carrying the left, the centrists at all. So they're swinging and they're going, well, maybe we might be better off with 4 more years of Donald Trump. Or maybe this guy, David Sponheim, might be a good alternative. But either way, your vote's going to be lost either in any direction, unless, of course, a miracle happens and I do get elected. Okay, I'll look at your mask video. I'll read the article, yes. Misanthropy has a Mask Up America video?
Oh, my apology.
Okay, let's check that out. Now, if Biden were to win, we will be goose-stepping our way toward communism within the next 6 months, and we'll be COVID tested. All of us will be force tested at every market. We won't be able to enter a market without being tested. So in a way, you're right. We may run out of food, those of us that don't want to be tested. Seriously. But then you're going to get these rampant carjackings of grandma and grandpa out in the front of the markets, and it's going to be pandemonium, and bloodshed will be everywhere because nobody's going to starve to death in this country. But if that's their game plan, if that's what the Democrats are up to, they're looking at mass mayhem. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're letting our countries devolve into mayhem in all of our key cities that really should be looking seriously at, wait a second, what's really happening here? Because the Democrats are not the answer. Believe me, they don't even articulate an answer. They don't even have a solution to the incredible climate problem, which is not caused by your farts or the beef you eat. It's caused by chemical pollution, weather modification in the air above us. And the Democrats, oh no, we can't talk about that, David. Oh no. We also don't want to talk about chemtrails. Oh God, did he say chemtrails? Oh golly. We don't want to hear about chemtrails, Dave.
Jeez. I was wearing my mask because I just got back from a full day of being a good person. I love my mask because it's a simple yet effective way to display my righteousness. Am I concerned that 2 children in China dropped dead because they were forced to wear masks in gym class? Nope. Am I concerned that we're creating a generation of children who will be socially awkward and conditioned to fear their fellow man? No. Am I concerned that I'm contributing to an impending socialist technocracy that will enslave the global population? Not even a little bit. Am I concerned that my mask is symbolic of my compliance to the social conditioning that will eventually lead to the forced vaccination of every man, woman, and child on planet Earth? Not a chance. And why am I not concerned, you ask? I'm not concerned because I decided a long time ago that shallow, insignificant gestures are a much easier way to showcase my morality than actually being moral. Because in order to be a real good person, I gotta stand up to a real bad person. And I don't like standing up to or for anything. I decided that it's much easier to trick my own mind into thinking compliance is a virtue instead of what compliance science actually is. Cowardice. I prefer to float through life completely ignorant to the fact that every socialist takeover has always begun in the exact same way, with government overreach, public shaming, censorship, and a toilet paper shortage. Don't believe me? Google toilet paper shortage in communist Russia. Did you think you were having a unique experience? I prefer to pretend history never repeats itself so that I can stand by and turn a blind eye every time history repeats itself. I prefer to call anyone who speaks up, fights back, or stands their ground a lunatic or a conspiracy theorist so that I don't feel obligated to do my own research. Research takes away from me time. And lastly, I prefer to put on my mask and stand among a sea of masks so that I never have to be seen, be free, or reveal the deep dark shadows that lurk within me.
That is hilarious. That was really good. Right on. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. That's just hilarious. Great job. She's awesome. I normally am not that impressed. Chick is smart, yeah. She got my notice. So let's take a look if I can download that right now and see if I can move on to the next question. You work every day? You work at functioning? Well, someday your job will be over. Robots will be taking over your position. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What are you going to see? How are you going to pay? How are you going to pay? Remember, Caesar had friends like Brutus, just saying, yeah. Porcelain people. Low 80s, really? We had the high 70s, and it was nice. It was nice. Okay. Okay, here's a true story. This dude does not abide by the mask, but I like wearing it, shopping it. As a hot girl I chatted up today, only made eye contact with me. Exactly. You notice that? You're having a hot conversation with a hot babe, wearing a hot mask on a hot day. It seems to be the winning approach for a lot of you guys who are still looking for that lovely lady and settle down and have a family of masked people. Meet Ken and Karen, and the children of Ken and Karen and their neighbor, who they modeled their life after. Well, I don't think he meant a hot lunch in that respect. Hey, there's a new movie out. It's called Weekend at Biden's, where they prop him up. He doesn't even have to go to the debates, and he literally pretends like he's, alive and kicking. Hey, everybody, it's me. They need to help him through the doors just because his balance, he's got vertigo or something. I don't know. I see every time Biden walks now, they've got somebody holding onto his arm, some nice woman he can smell. But yeah, meanwhile, you can't smell anything. You've got to wear a mask. And even Dr. Birx was saying today, or yesterday, the woman at the center of the controversy, without talking about all the stupid things she said, we just talk about her instead of the things she said. Like half the tests are not even COVID positive, but they're saying they're COVID positive anyway. Things like that. Dr. Birx, she wants us all to wear a mask indoors now. She actually said that we should wear a mask inside our house. And that makes me wonder. If the kids go back to school, they'll be wearing masks 7-8 hours a day. I don't wear a mask more than maybe 15 minutes out of a 4-day period when I go to the market. Normally I breathe regular, right? In my house with air filters running constantly due to the chemtrails. But normally I have a normal breathing pattern, and I don't think 7 hours with a mask on for a kid is very good. I don't think it's going to be healthy with it. You got 2% reduction in oxygen. Gym and recess would be canceled. You heard last week in Hubei province in China, 2 young boys were out working out with their masks on, and they literally died within a week of each other. Doing their workout outside in Hubei province. I was there. I see everything. The dude does not abide. I hear you. You only wear 10 minutes a week. That's about where I'm coming from. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes. I go to a Home Depot. You got to wear the mask. I carry a spray bottle I carry this toolkit. I get my natural antiseptic hand sanitizer I made with half black tea and the other half hydrogen peroxide and a little bit of witch hazel. And I use that on my hands in between wearing rubber gloves, because I go all out. I wear the rubber gloves, and I have the full face mask, the goggles, everything. I'm fully equipped. Now, Sarah's even got her ears blocked, too. It's like suffocating themselves, I know. We found the KN95 mask was very good. The KN95 got very bad ratings from healthcare associations. I'll say that. I've still got the glass one for the show here. I prefer that. That's got my fruit enzyme in it, where I get daily shots of vitamins and enzymes that help rejuvenate my flubber. You know, the thing that I have on my face, outside of my exoskeleton. I'm a cybernetic organism, human flesh over metal exoskeleton. Yeah. There's a lot of people suffering from emotional suffering right now, it's a suffering kind of period. The key is to not feel sorry for yourself. Drink coffee 5 cups a day. You'll feel a lot better if you stay busy. All right. That was really good. And I made a copy of it, so it's in the lineup too. That's almost like a breath of fresh air to see a woman that sarcastic. Because, you know, we don't do a lot of sarcasm around here. I'm the one who's sarcastic. Sarah's very rarely sarcastic. Sometimes she is. But, you know, when I see women who are that sarcastic, it reminds me of the old days in Hollywood when I met all these women from the Groundlings Theater that were comedians. I didn't go to the Groundlings, but I knew people at the Groundlings. Comedians tend to be pretty sarcastic. There's a new strain of the virus that makes it spread 300 times easier. Oh, what's it, use Vaseline in transmission? It slides into your body somehow? Boy, they're coming up with all kinds of new things to fear. We just ought to do a fear machine and come up with, you know, the best ways to become fearful. Let's change the background, because this is kind of, I'm losing it here with this evil behind me. I want something peaceful. I want that smooth, nice and easy feeling. There you go. Now, doesn't that seem much, let me get rid of the government planned anarchy. That's so hostile. Of course they're doing that. They're imbeciles. What did we expect? I mean, they're the people that put us so deep into debt that we can barely get out of it. So how do we do the civil disobedience thing? That's the key. The nice thing about civil disobedience is it's not hard to do. All you got to do is whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody. That's what the government protects you. The Constitution protects you to do this. Now, there are a lot of people who've been getting tickets for just going outside and sitting on a park bench in Burlington, Vermont. That's a bad thing, because Burlington, Vermont is going to be sued so that they won't even have any money soon, because there are lawyers lining up to give it to them. Any city that takes away your basic constitutional rights will be sued to the highest level, and attorneys are loving it. There's a lot of people right now taking cases, and anybody who got a ticket you can contact an attorney, and they should be able to help you. So yeah, all the Democrats that are pushing this agenda, forced social distancing, this ridiculous bullcrap story about coronavirus spreading, all these people could be charged with treason under my government. We could actually charge the Democrats that are lying about the statistical manipulation of the COVID numbers. We could charge them with felonies. And I mean Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci with a felony. Especially, we've got an order, a standing order, a federal order right now, which is proof, admissible in court, that they're purposely putting COVID positive people in nursing homes around the most vulnerable people in the world, which is murder. You know, getting near McDonald's might very well be a, kind of a, you wear a mask when you eat. So don't you just order out and have it delivered at the door? Most of you are living on burgers from McDonald's, right? I mean, that's a given. Press 1 if you aren't living on McDonald's burgers right now. Yeah, see, we don't have anybody who's not eating McDonald's burgers. I'm going to have to press one because I haven't been to McDonald's in about 4 years. You don't like it? Good. So you're not living in McDonald's? 1973 is not living in McDonald's? Good for you, man. You're actually cooking your own food. What did you... Fox News is turning on Trump? Oh, I believe it, Colin. That's why you QAnoners ought to hang out with me, because I actually understand Trump more than most. He stole 15 of my ideas to get elected, so I kind of understand where he's coming from. I don't know. I mean, he could... I'll tell you, Colin, if you voted for Mitt Romney, would you feel like he could beat Joe Biden in an election? Press 1 if you would vote for Mitt Romney. You haven't been good. Good for you, Colin. Press 1 if you would vote for Mitt Romney versus Joe Biden, and you're a Republican. See, a lot of Republicans don't like Mitt Romney. He's been like pushed off, like he's some bad guy or something. Mitt Romney. Yeah, see, oh, he's a shill, yeah. Press 1 if you would vote for Mitt Romney over Donald Trump. Well, of course you wouldn't vote for either. That's not the question. I'm not a Republican either, but if I had a choice between Mitt Romney and Joe Biden, I would choose Mitt Romney if that was my choice. And I'm not even a Republican. That's why I'm saying, if you want to keep these people from forced vaccinating and COVID testing you, you better rethink your vote the next 3 months to either myself or Donald Trump. And I normally wouldn't say that if the Democrats weren't acting so commie. They are really communistic, especially endorsing all these riots, causing nothing but civil unrest, acting like it's no big deal. Oh, I agree. Voting is a sham. That's what Trump is talking about right now. I don't like Trump either. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been his biggest advocate. I'm the biggest antagonist. Now I'm beginning to wonder, is Trump, 4 more years of Trump, a little less predictable than Biden, who's like babbling? But that's all, folks. Yeah, I'm just a little concerned that Trump is, he hasn't done anything to really destroy the world. He's gotten pretty close to making the worst decisions on earth, but remember, Biden was going to shut the economy down too. That's pretty messed up. Both of these people would have shut the economy down, and I think that's the biggest mistake anybody could have ever made. I had the greatest economy in the world, and I shut it down. Yeah, I'm not a warmonger. I really want to work toward peace, and working our problems out with other countries it's a fresh new start with a third party. I can't believe that Ross Perot didn't get more than 19% of the vote. He put $100 million into this. I put under 1,000. So if I could win this with under 1,000, that'd be a miracle for the average American, I think. Yeah, I'm looking for a couple things here. So you are ready to go in your car. By the way, it is very safe for you to travel in a car. One of the reasons why I'm urging people to engage in civil disobedience by driving. Oh, I forgot to turn this light on. Hang on. A little better, a little bit more light on the subject. Driving is a very good way to do civil disobedience. You will be completely safe in your car. And what I do is I get these sunshades. And let me show you. If you put 4 sunshades in your car, get the large version so you have extra room around. No matter what kind of car you have, you can cover your windows with these things, and they provide a tremendous amount of RFID protection. These are standard sunshades, typically sold. Like this one right here. You know what I mean. Yeah, you can get these at like Walmart for $7, a good one. So for about $28, $30 out the door, You put 4 of them in your car, and if your family is concerned about RFID in your area and you want to, get away from it all, go to a local park and put up the sunshades and sit there and run with the air conditioner on and the radio blasting. You'll be totally safe. Otherwise, you may be in the directional of the 5G network that's being pushed upon you, whether you like it or not. Yeah, it's like a drive-through safari with your family. You do not like the sun in your eyes, exactly 815, and that's what I'm trying to make people aware of. Protecting yourself from dangerous radiation is actually something our bodies naturally do. We can handle the thunderstorms. It's part of our genetic makeup to be able to handle radiation. I know that sounds amazing, isn't it? Our bodies have been coping for zillions of years with radiation. What we're not able to deal with is pulse radiation. That's where they're going to get us. That's where the DNA in our body starts to mutate and form cancer cells and tumors, which will ultimately kill all of us. Why would the government do something that's dangerous? Why would they hurt us, Dave? Because they really don't care about you. And they want you gone. They want to convert to automation, and there's even talk of getting rid of 95% of the population, like Robin was saying earlier in our show. Why doesn't Biden offer a great plan to get people back to work, Dave? Like my homestead renewal plan. Because Biden doesn't really want to articulate anything because he can't. He stammers and has no clue as to what he's talking about within a few seconds. So Biden he doesn't have the vigor to lead this nation, whereas I do. If you want a dark horse candidate who can come out of the shade and out of the dark shadows as a white horse candidate, I'm the guy. I literally am a white stallion running in the dark shadows, kept in censorship for years. And I'm ready to lead this country, but you have to believe in it. Now, there's about 18 million houses out there that need fixing up. And there's about 5 million people homeless. Do the math. I mean, we're going to get people homes if we can just get them up and doing things. If they don't want to do anything, which is their right, I've met a lot of homeless people that don't like to do anything. They can probably live in a tent in one of our tent cities and have showers to go to, and we'll make things decent, convenient. Cover the bases. We've got to treat people decently. We can't just sit there and ignore the homeless problem like the Democrats have done for decades now. Yeah, I don't go to Walmart because it's potentially a germ center. I haven't been to Walmart in 5 months. Well, they haven't legalized homosexuals' marriage at a federal level. States have done it, but it's not a federal thing. I don't think the federal government has the authority to rule over marriage. I really don't. I think the separation of church and state interpretation of the Constitution prevents the government from handling religious ceremonies. That's one of the ways I sidestep the whole issue. I mean, there are some people like polygamists in Utah that wonder why they can't have 3 or 4 wives. And I honestly can't tell them that, from a federal perspective, that the government has the right to tell them what to do. Unless it involves endangerment of children where they're having relations with their children, then we have to step in. But other than that, I don't think the government should rule on marriage at all. Personally. It's none of their business. I mean, the federal government can do it and automatically segregate themselves from, like you, Final Dream. If the Democrats pull that same-sex marriage law at federal level, if they try to pull that off, that's going to change the dimension of everything. The U.S. Court of Appeals is going to be hearing the circuit decision. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down all the state bans on same-sex marriage, legalizing it in all 50 states. Oh, it is legal in all 50 states, but it's required the states to honor out-of-state same-sex marriage licenses in various cases. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're already at that point, the teetering point. 2015, they said that they can't say that states can't have same-sex marriage. So they have to allow it, which is understandable. But that's also an interpretation like they shouldn't even be involved in marriage too. The federal government really could be stopped in their tracks by simply invoking the separation of church and state interpretation and all the case studies and case law behind that. When questioned about his role in the genocide agenda, George Soros looked his interviewer in the eyes and said, "Why do you care about them? They are just animals." Wow. That's some heavy stuff from Samizdat. Thank you, man, for telling me about Soros. And let's not forget, and you're a big Trump supporter, I know, Trump has not outed George Soros once. He's not exposed the connection between Soros and Antifa and Soros and Black Lives Matter. Trump is surprisingly ignorant of that. He doesn't want to do anything to talk about Soros, which really makes me wonder, and I would hope many of you Trump supporters would begin to understand that Trump is protecting Soros and Gates. I just want you to realize there's a big combination of things going on right now. Yeah, I didn't get a big support for Mitt Romney. Sorry to say, I thought he'd be a big supporter here, but no. Okay, so right, he's making all the moves. He hires the Antifa forces. He even pays people to take videos of people beating people up. Yeah, if you've got a black group, they're beating up white people, they get a video camera of that, they can make money on it. This is the kind of conduit of treason that this guy's involved in, and Trump won't call him out. It's very messed up. It's unfortunate. Yeah, so when you're looking a woman in the eyes and you're like, hey, you look, we're finally making eye contact now that you can't see my face. I know, wouldn't that be great? Just having a conversation with a woman where she can't see your face. And I'm not interested, but I'm just saying from your perspective. And pretty soon you're actually talking to Grimes. You didn't even know it. And there you are, Elon Musk's girlfriend. And you're having a conversation you didn't even know you're talking to Grimes. Grimes rhymes with grime. Now, yeah, I'm not going to elaborate, but I mean, sure, why not? Hi. Hey, big boy. There you go. And then you find out that Grimes is actually a dude. The world is kind of screwed up when you don't even know what you're talking to or who you're talking to. You could be talking to a transgender with a crochet mask on. You wouldn't even know. Is Grimes a dude? Does anybody know? I don't know. It was Grimes, but I mean, is Grimes a dude? Is Elon Musk into a dude? I mean, is that what's going on? Yeah. Well, it doesn't even protect. No. Well, technically, masks don't stop viruses, Samizdat. Okay? But Dr. Fauci thinks that it's stopping some of the aerosol nature of the virus that could be spreading by whatever. And Dr. Fauci made some statements today that are just shocking. I tweeted about it, of course. If you want to check my tweets, you have to go to @thirdparty. But I was running off at the mouth, really. I just couldn't help it. I was having a tweet fest. Well, I didn't really want to, bother anyone with complaints, so the best thing to do is to go in and do tweet therapy. Kind of like Donald does, I guess. Just start airing your views. I talked about, this is ironic, from a woman that settled for 25% of the Bezos empire when she was entitled to 50%. Imagine negotiating away $40 billion in a settlement. And this story brags up Jeff Bezos' wife, Mackenzie, who's going to drop the name Bezos, by the way. It's going to be a big post-divorce revenge. Fox ran the story. I'm not that impressed. She literally gave up $40 billion.
In the 19th century, we had the robber barons. In the 21st century, we got the...
Mackenzie Scott, the fourth richest woman in the world, announced on Tuesday that she's dropped Bezos from her name. And she donated $1.7 billion to 119 nonprofits. I mean, I really like her. I think she's a great person. Whereas Sanchez, I think, is more like a, kind of a, well, let's just say a makeover Barbie doll. She kind of looks like that Barbie doll that you buy. Anyway, Mackenzie Scott is a real woman. You know, I see that he didn't deserve her, so I'm glad the marriage is over for her sake. And I hope she finds the right guy to help spend her life together with him. But she got definitely hurt. $40 billion she could have earned more. It's unfortunate she didn't go for it. But yeah, I was tweeting quite a few things on my show, and here's another tweet I did. We'll make this the final tweet wrap up. I was trying to fit this into the show. Look at this half-wit Dr. Fauci as he claims the virus spreads in the air without any scientific data to support his claim. I just kind of laugh at this. It's like you go to the story and it's like, where's the science? Fauci says he thinks there's a degree of airborne spread of the coronavirus. He's just spouting off left and right. He has no proof of anything, and it's changing the way our country is. When I posted the Jim Jordan interview with Dr. Fauci last week, I've been hit with a copyright strike, literally by a group. I'm not going to name their name, but it looks like a government shill group. They literally put a copyright strike on a C-SPAN 2 perfectly legal video, which was in the public domain, of Jim Jordan, the senator, interrogating Dr. Fauci, asking him, why won't you commit to saying no mask? If you have no mask, you shouldn't be protesting. Why wouldn't you commit to people in crowds that are protesting? He wouldn't make a statement. Fauci looked like a complete idiot, ignoring every question that came at him, hiding. They both have big ears, but not as big as Bezos, yeah, or Barack Obama. So I did that little ditty about Jack and Diane, which was fun. Just ridiculous. It's like, sure, health experts have said, and they always keep citing evidence from up above, you know, the bigger agency up above. I can't even talk about the agency up above. You know, above the CDC, the worldwide agency that operates everything. He always defers to that, which has been known to be lying day in, day out. I can't name the agency, otherwise YouTube will kick my video. But it's amazing. He keeps referring to that, and it's like, dude, they've been full of crap for years. They were full of crap with the swine flu. They were full of crap with the H1N1. They're even more full of crap now. And then this is our nation is shut down over fear, I wrote. Read my collection of coronavirus news and see for yourself. And it's called The Fear Train, and this is a link I put out, which is to our coronavirus news section at Flipboard. Cutting edge stuff. And this one. The main page of Google News features a debunking story that simply uses WHO stats to claim the coronavirus is worse than H1N1 or swine flu, when CDC data shows that way more people are dying from H1N1 than COVID, AIDS, and Hep B. Way more people are dying from it. So I did say this because this kind of fits the parameters of the truth. You can look up all the data at the CDC and you'll see that it matches what I'm saying. So COVID-19 is 40% of the cases are labeled COVID-19 now. 60% are labeled H1N1. So there's lots of things to talk about. I wish Dr. Fauci would admit he stands to profit $150,000 per year from vaccines are genocide. Now that's hashtag. Now he's jealous of Russia's claims of a vaccine. The COVID-19 is an RNA mutating virus. A vaccine is impossible. That is a fact. And I take you to the article where he doesn't believe that the Russians will come up with one, but somehow he's going to magically come up with one. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Epstein, look at this ridiculous story written by David Epstein of the Boston Globe about a drug that has been banned from discussion, the one we talked about or didn't talk about earlier. And he claimed 1 death occurred worldwide. This is a meteorologist commenting on healthcare. Wow. This guy named David Epstein. I couldn't believe that one. And then I just went ahead and gave Trump is losing, Biden is a pedo, hashtag COVID-19. Apparently it's working. The divide and conquer tactic the elites are using has turned the American populace into a herd of animals. Then I went on to talk about the exploited children, the video about Biden and the submarine that Ghislaine Maxwell has. So, I mean, I'm keep pushing it. Last week, I got 35,000 impressions. Previously, I've had about 50. So my impressions are down. My number of followers remains fixed at the same level for 9 years. For every week, I get up between 50 and 35,000 impressions, and I get nobody signing up. It's amazing. They've got me shadow banned. Yeah, the results showed that none of the masks work. Exactly. People have done studies of droplets of air, and they know that droplets will travel, about 23 feet in the air. So for a person to stand there in front of you going, "Achoo!" and then that's like right at you, you got to get at least 23 feet away with your mask on. And have protective eyewear as well. And these are readily available, these Uvex. I highly recommend them for general use. These are Uvex. They're $10 on Amazon. And they deliver not only protection for your eyes all around. You see the seal here? It's very tight. But they also give you enhanced UV protection up to 91%, including blue light from desktops. Oh no, the elites like horror movies. They get behind all kinds of programming involving bloodletting, like Twilight. Yeah, these are okay for sneezes as long as you've got another setup above you. Yeah, you need an air mask. I don't have it with me right now, but my high-end air mask. Or you could get the Buzz Lightyear. Let's take the green screen off and I'll show you. This setup is pretty nice. Yeah, readily available, except I think supplies are running short. So you put this on top of your head, and then you prepare your hello, I am Buzz Lightyear. And then you're ready to go into your robotic world. Yeah. Anyway, Sarah hasn't hooked up the batteries yet to this unit, but it looks like a real winner. Well, it even has like a sound effect thing. It's just going to be cool. It actually goes on this way. It's a Space Ranger helmet. Hello, I'm David Sponheim, Space Ranger and helper of the human race. Hello, can you hear me very well through the muffled mask behind me? My voice sounds so loud as it bounces back against my face. I asked her when she ordered this, to infinity and beyond. I asked her when she ordered this, is this PPE wear official? She said it was $24 with free shipping, and I said, how can you lose? How can you lose having that? That's got to be one of the coolest things ever. Yeah, I really wanted to wear it in the show. I mean, I said, that's a collector's item. I really mean that. I mean, Buzz Lightyear, I mean, how could you not want that? Anyway, I clearly have great ideas for the country. As you can see with the solar rooftop revolution, you know how many roofs are facing south in America? Every one of them could have a rooftop like this. Now, we can't guarantee your other side of your house won't leak, but we can cover the side that we're going to lease from you, and we can guarantee that won't leak, which is a pretty good deal for somebody who wants to redo their house. If one side of the roof facing south is covered with solar panels that save you money on your electric bill, and we get money off of your electricity as a nation, You can imagine the infrastructure with this idea. This is one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton used my idea in the 2016 debates with Donald Trump. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Chinese plastic is extensive, but I got to tell you, I kind of fall for collector's items. When they can go on a mantelpiece and at the top and say, whoa, is that a real Buzz Lightyear mask? It's like, yeah. What year is it from? Way back in 2020. We bought that on Amazon. What's Amazon? You know, the company that ruined their opportunities for online purchasing by whatever, you know? Or the company that the monopoly was broken up by 20 years ago. Someday, hopefully, 50 years from now. Here in the UK, people are starting to build prefab houses, absolutely, as they should. We got a pretty cool background Zetterbeard brought in on our iVlog show. So if you guys come into iVlog the next month, you can actually go on and broadcast your show. It's totally usable. Thanks to Zetterbeard, he got us a pro account, so. And he's got this cool light show going on. It's kind of like an endless party at his house. I can see that. It's the cool love pad thing that he likes to have ladies come over and say, hey, check out my light show, man. It's cool. Listen to some good music, smoke a doobie, hang out, drink some wine, have yourself a socially distanced experience. Okay, that's available to you in the future on our show, which is nice. Got a lot of good stuff in the lineup tonight. I'm going to give you a little review of what's on our show's lineup, a really big show. Kind of a heads up what we're looking at in the evening if you want to hang in there till 1 in the morning. I used to run the show till 2 a.m., but it's getting to be a little ridiculous past 1 because some of you really need to go to bed on the East Coast. And I figure if I close down at 1 a.m., you won't see the sun come up. The sun rises too early for you. And I don't want you guys getting to bed before the sun, or I do want you guys getting to bed before the sun comes up. Yeah, steel shipping containers would be the way I'd build a building out in, say, Texas. There's some areas of Texas that don't have any standards for, well, you can actually build houses for under 1,000 square feet. And what I would recommend is putting in a container underground, like a 40-foot by 12-foot container underground. And ultimately, build a 1,000 square foot house above it, and then you could build a second floor on that. And you still not be required to have a permit. So a lot of people are living off grid this way. And Texas is such a big state that there's still a lot of parcels available. We're going to be looking at that tomorrow night on Truth Tuesday. We'll be looking at some parcels out there in the middle of nowhere. New Mexico, too. Lots of land. You could do that with a container. Bezos was worth $180 billion. I don't know, Colin. No. His net worth dropped to $125 billion after the divorce. Let me take a look. Unless he's making money hand over fist right now. We're going to have to bust the monopoly, you know that. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me, really? Colin's right. Yeah. She took a small amount of money from him. She could have hit him for another $40 billion, and she didn't. It's kind of foolish for her not to. She had the authority to get 50% of his assets, and she only took 25. You're right. I stand corrected. He has a net worth of $178 billion right now. It's just amazing. His sales have picked up over the past few years. Mackenzie Scott is still worth $57 billion. Elon Musk is worth $70. Bill Gates is worth $113. That's why I think this Bill Gates TikTok thing is a deal with Donald Trump. It almost looks like Trump wants to pressure China to sell it to Gates, and that he wants to make a commission on it. I almost believe that Donald Trump is working it so he can make some money. Seriously. Okay, I'm going to close with this video, which is scary. CBS pressures Bill Gates on the topic that almost everyone had side effects. He doesn't seem to care.
The Moderna vaccine sound concerning. We looked. After the second dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect, ranging from severe chills to fevers. So, are these vaccines safe?
Well, the FDA, not being pressured, will look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is very, very appropriate. And you know, the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose, and so to get the antibodies. Some of the other vaccines are able to go with lower doses to get responses that are pretty high, including the J&J and the Pfizer. And so there's a lot of characteristics of these vaccines. It's great that we have multiple of them that are going out there. And yes, I think
you know the data better than I do. But the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not.
Okay, look how he's grabbing himself. He's scratching himself. Very interesting. His body language is really telling. She just said the truth that everybody had bad side effects, and he's denying it flat out.
Dramatic, where it's just super painful, but
super painful. Look at his hand movement. It's just weird.
Yes, we need to make sure there's not severe side effects. The FDA.
Look at how he's laughing.
Sure, there's not severe side effects.
He's having a good time. He's enjoying this. He's absolutely enjoying this. It's like, do you realize how many people have been paralyzed as a result of him? In India alone, 496,000 children right now can't move. And he thinks this is a big joke. India was appalling. He forced 50 polio vaccines on little 5-year-olds for no reason, all at once. Literally forced it on them. And what does he consider a severe side effect? Everyone who had the Moderna vaccination third trial had severe side effects, and he's minimizing it. It's like it's not a big deal.
The FDA, I think, will do a good job of that, despite the pressure.
Okay, so the FDA that just completely banned a very life-saving drug, which I can't even name on the show, now he's claiming they're the best organization ever, and that they're going to do the best thing for you. And look at the smile. It's almost like he just conned you out of hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's enjoying every bit of it. It's almost like a feeling of glee, like he's getting away with, like a shoplifter has when they get out the door with a high-priced item. Seriously. So there is a serious problem going on. We need to expose his time with Jeff Epstein. We need to find out what happened during that time period. Without knowing that, we're not going to be able to work this guy over with the necessary information. We're going to have to be a lot more vigilant to get our government officials to actually ask him questions. Now, right now, the Democrats act like they're just going to win and everything's going to be great while they destroy our country. It's happening, everybody. It's going on right now. Yeah. So as we see this endless hoax played out against us on a daily basis, and then we're constantly wondering, what reality is. I mean, you don't even know which way is up. It's like, where are we headed? No leadership, no guidance, a lot of fear, and a massive hype overload. I'm just pulling from my library of little funny things I've got over at DLive. So, I mean, you can stand back and laugh right now all you want, but in reality, this is going to be one hell of a situation. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon with the two-party system. Now, because I can't even get into the dialogue, I can't even spike the dialogue with my views, we're all in the same boat, you and I. We're basically trying to just stay afloat. We can't really do anything other than stay afloat. And if the people are left alone, they'll prosper. But these Democrats, these sickos that can do this, they're willing to take our lives. I'm telling you, we are in jeopardy. They want 95% of the planet removed, eliminated. Yeah. I'd show this. Yes, I know Dr. Fauci endorsed that miracle drug that I can't talk about on the show. I know. 15 years ago, Dr. Fauci endorsed that. We have proof of it. I know. I've seen proof of it. Yep. We know that he endorsed it. Now it's the worst thing on earth because one person died? Come on, that's not a proper FDA decision. And if Donald Trump was truly trying to stop the deep state, he would have fired Fauci. Oh, yeah, and he would have fired the director of the FDA for outlawing that drug. But Donald didn't do anything. So I argue that Donald is just a shill. He's a puppet. He took the money. He took the deal. He probably is getting money from Gates because now that he's pushing TikTok on all of us, it seems like he wants Gates to handle the affair and buy in, and that he wants certain payments back to the U.S. for this deal. It looks like Donald's trying to profit from the entire TikTok deal. It really does. It looks like he set the whole thing up to make money on it. And Gates is involved, I'm pretty sure. And that person drank aquarium cleaner, exactly. I mean, how can you even call that a situation? And he protects George Soros, Donald does. So I'm urging all of you QAnoners to start realigning your thinking about this third party. I need your support. And I never thought I'd come to this because I really felt like you people were just not really cut out of the same fiber I was cut out of. I don't believe Donald Trump. You still do believe Donald Trump, but we both care about this terrible problem with pedophilia in Washington and Hollywood. We both care about the key issues affecting our country like our Bill of Rights. So I need you QAnoners to understand that Donald Trump didn't say one thing when 15,000 of you got kicked off of Twitter last week. Not a word about you. All right. You got new racism training going on so you can properly talk to people. Check this out. Seattle, not only do they not want a police force, they want a volunteer neighborhood watch group. But they demand all white city employees share examples of their own racism. It's called internalized racial superiority for white people. I'm sorry, but that's insane. White people aren't inherently racist and are not inherently feeling superior to everybody. This is the grossest example of reverse racism I've ever seen. They started with affirmative action and now they're going in this direction. I told Sarah the only reason why I'm here in this area is because of, her job, basically. I wouldn't live here. Read down. There's more to read. The program is designed to train white people only. In a series of tweets this is Seattle's Office of Civil Rights has developed race and social justice curriculum. After attendees arrive, they must announce their pronouns and tell the trainers when they first became race conscious. In other words, when they began their journey of internalized racism, where it includes they have to process their feeling of sadness, shame, paralysis, confusion, and denial, and then take action to redistribute resources, change who's in power, and alter institutions. This is completely illegal and a violation of their rights. And for a Seattle Civil Rights Office to do this, it comes down to that interview or that meeting I had with that black guy that walked up to me. We were taking a civil rights course. 1988. A Jewish professor teaching all about social movements like the free speech movement, socialism, all that. He walks up to me at break, this black guy, and says, hey man. So, hi, yeah. So, what do you think about the civil rights movement? I said, well, it works for everybody. I mean, as long as we all have our civil rights, it's good. It's not just about one group or another. And he looked at me like I was like a man from a different planet. And he said, Whitey, you don't know nothing about the civil rights movement. It's like, whoa, you just called me a slur? A racial slur, called me Whitey? And I said to the guy, I said, I don't know nothing about the civil rights movement. That means that I know a lot. That's a double negative. And he went, huh? Like he didn't know what a double negative was. And then he immediately said, what do you think you're going to get on your paper? And I said, well, I don't know. This guy's a pretty tough professor. I'd probably guess maybe a B- the way he treats people. And he said, I know exactly what I'm going to get on my paper. What's that? I'm going to get an A+. Well, how do you know that? I said. Because I bought my paper, he said, for $25. So I'm going to end the show with that. And it just amazes me how all these people have gotten so much with the Civil Rights Act, affirmative action, welfare, housing, all kinds of housing opportunities with the projects. Now, I'm not going to say the projects worked, but they did have housing opportunities in the 70s. But now we have to have racial justice corrected while we're all wearing a mask, acting like a hostage in a third world country. I say engage in civil disobedience and tune the Democrats out, and let's beat them in the upcoming election. You can't have a vaccine. It has a mutating RNA messenger section. There is no way a vaccine is possible at all. All right, take care. Good night. Sleep well. Sorry, this won't happen, man. There's no such thing as herd immunity. You know, I'm going to end with one more statement. Getting rid of racism is equivalent to trying to get rid of this virus. You will never get rid of this virus. It's going to be here forever and ever, just like all the other viruses. And something's wrong with your head if you think this fear is real. You really believe this fear is real, then you probably are one of the many snowflakes that have been born into this world and have no backbone whatsoever. Americans in 1944 faced almost certain death. Guadalcanal and all kinds of places. Now Americans in 2020 face a 99.9% survival rate, and this is how they behave. Like scared rabbits hiding behind their shelters. It's absurd. Tomorrow we'll bring up Wayfair and the Wayfair Gate. We'll talk more about the evidence that seems to be out there of Joe Biden having an island retreat near a submarine base that goes right to Epstein's pedophile island. Don't think that that's been debunked. It hasn't. We have evidence that 2 of Biden's relatives have property in that area. He's no doubt shielding it from others. Take care. Good night, everybody.
My feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt away. My Mr. Right, too good to be true, my world around, cause you're the peace I find. If you sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt away.